Hello there, another day, another installment for you. This is the AM show. We are live on the Joy News channel. Beautiful morning, and thank you for tuning in this morning. I am Emefa Akosiadeti, and as always, as usual, the AM News will be brought to you by Noella Karen Iyali, and as well, we shall brought you some sports updates. Haruna Mubarak will do justice to that, and as well, on News Review today, Dr. John Osai-Kwapon, CDD Fellow, will join us, and Dr. Kwame Asante, as usual, political scientist. You'd find him at the University of Ghana, and Suleiman Abraham, Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa. Now, matters arising this morning. Chairman Wontumi still in police grip as lawyers raised against time to secure his release yesterday after being charged with 6 criminal charges for alleged breaches of the mining law. Now, where are the Galamsey kingpins? Civil society organizations push for more action to arrest the architects of the Galamsey menace following the arrest of over 100 people by NIMAS yesterday in Abosso in the Western region. Well, also, a lead counsel for removed Chief Justice Getro Tokono lashes out at former Auditor-General Daniel Domelevo, describing his acts as shameful after Domelevo accused him of an interview that he produced fake documents to the committee sitting on the case of the former Chief Justice. To bring you the fallout of that as well, and on to big stories. By now you may have heard that the National Service Authority is beginning to put some 10,000 personnel through military training and handling weapons to instill some discipline. And as well, GPRTU cautions government to guard against any fuel increases beyond the prevailing prices, as such rise will trigger an increase in transport fares. We'll hear from GPRTU as well. It is a real packed show. You don't want to go anywhere because we have everything covered here on the AM show. And so join the conversation with your thoughts via phone if we get to open the phone lines. But if you're unable to open the phone lines, why not? You can join via social media handles so that you can stay with us with all of your thoughts. Once again, this is the AM show. Thank you really for tuning in, and Noella is on standby to bring you some updates in news.
It's 6:06, and Noella Karen Iyali is right here with the latest in the news on the AM show. Let's begin with our top story. And former Auditor-General Daniel Domelevo has accused former Attorney General Ayikoi Otoo of presenting fake documents during the investigations into petitions against former Chief Justice Getro Tokono. Now, this development comes after Ayikoi Otoo expressed dissatisfaction with the committee's decision alleging procedural breaches and questioning the authenticity of documents relied upon. Now, Daniel Domelevo, a member of the committee, claims Ayikoi Otoo submitted falsified documents, including a letter signed by the Judicial Secretary appointing the Chief Justice, which he described as fake evidence.
Come to Mr. Ayikoi Otoo's attack on me. I find it very interesting. He said he has provided all the evidence to Mr. Domelevo, a former Auditor General, and I sat there and I didn't take it, and other people, I was whatever influenced my decision, he doesn't know. I want to put it on record that he provided us with evidence that were fake evidence. It will interest you to know that it is the junior of the Chief Justice, the Judicial Secretary, who appointed the Chief Justice.
How was that?
Yes, that letter he produced is signed by the Judicial Secretary appointing a Chief Justice. So if you follow the briefing that the Attorney General has been given, a lot of work is going on. Will you ask, are you satisfied? I'll say no, I am not satisfied. Because I can't see the end of the tunnel, not to talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't even see it. I don't even see the end of the tunnel before the light, because I know this may continue until there's a change. In fact, the prayer of the corporates and their lawyers is that there should be a change in government. Then you hear nolli prosequa and etc., and our money is gone. The procedure that Attorney General currently is using it's going to be very difficult.
Well, let's now listen to Mr. Ayikoi Otoo's response to Daniel Domelevo.
Judicial Secretary, after the Chief Justice had assumed office, wrote to her, telling her that these are some of the privileges of your office, that you are entitled to at least travel twice in a year. It is this kind of thing that we're trying to prove that it was not an unapproved travel, but it was part of her conditions of service. So we brought the letter, which was signed by the spending officer, who also happens to be the Judicial Secretary, to show the conditions that the Chief Justice was.
But he's saying that letter has been falsified.
So his point is that to talk about an appointment of a Chief Justice, and that was why he was referring to the title. Now, apart from the title, he suspects the letter. And I'm saying I'm surprised because he ought to know. Again, during the trial, if he felt it was a fake letter, he could have called the Judicial Secretary and quizzed her and asked her, did you sign this letter? So on what basis has he waited since the 1st of September for him to now come out to say what he's saying now?
So this concern was not raised at the time you were meeting the committee at all?
Never, never. We told that, look, first of all, this is, a lot of you are reading law. Is it for me to bring evidence? Is it not for a client to give me a document to tender on their behalf? So to even, ascribe it to me, it's disingenuous.
Well, let's still stay with politics because Ashanti Regional NPP Chairman Bernard Enchibo-Siako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, spent the night in police custody after failing to meet a 25 million cedis bail in 2 separate illegal mining cases. He's accused of assigning mineral rights without approval and destroying 13 hectares of land in the Tano Nimiri forest. Now, Wontumi, who has been placed on a stop list and barred from traveling abroad, denies all charges. And my colleague Kweko Asante was in court and has the details.
Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Enchibo-Siako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, is facing 2 separate criminal cases of alleged illegal mining activities involving his company, Akonta Mining Limited. Both cases were heard at the High Court here in Accra, where he has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Chairman Wontumi's legal troubles deepened this week when he appeared before the police CID prior to being put before 2 different courts in Accra to answer a total of 13 charges, all linked to alleged illegal mining operations in the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve and Samreboy in the Western region. Chairman Wontumi and 4 others, including his Akonta Mining Company Limited, were arraigned on 7 counts of unlawful mining and environmental destruction. The prosecution alleged that Akonta Mining, under the direction of Chairman Wontumi and his associates, operated illegally within the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve in 2022, despite being denied a permit to do so. They are accused of destroying about 13 hectares of land, felling over 300 trees, and erecting buildings within the reserve without authorization. After hearing arguments from both sides, the court in this matter granted Chairman Wontumi bail in the sum of 10 million cedis with 2 sureties, one of whom must justify with landed property. Earlier in the day, Chairman Wontumi had appeared in another criminal court where he faced 6 separate charges for breaches of Ghana's mining laws. In that case, he was granted 15 million cedis bail with 3 sureties and placed on a stop list at all entry and exit points of the country. The court also ordered him to deposit his passport, report to investigators twice a month. The 6 counts in that case includes unauthorized assignment of mineral rights and facilitating unlicensed mining operations, which prosecutors say occurred within Akonta Mining's concession at Samreboy in the Western region. A second accused person, Kwame Entry, is currently at large. Both cases stem from investigations by the Criminal Investigations Department, which found evidence of large-scale destruction in parts of the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve. Officials say excavators bearing Akonta Mining's logo were used in operations that led to the extensive environmental damage including river pollution and deforestation. Chairman Wontumi has maintained his innocence in both cases. Bernard Enchibo has since failed to meet the bail conditions, at least for tonight, and will sleep in police custody.
What these bail conditions mean for NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman Wontumi Bernard Enchibo is that until this trial, in which he is accused of facilitating illegal mining, is concluded, he is unable to travel outside the country, perhaps without the permission of the court. And any time he wishes to do so on any basis, he would have to apply to the court for the court to give him permission, or perhaps for the court to revise the bail conditions. But until then, Chairman Wontumi is not allowed to travel outside the country. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, High Court Complex, Accra.
Now, in a bold move to tackle the long-standing issue of poor punctuality, the Bono East Regional Minister, Francis Owusu-Antwi, has launched a new offensive surprise workplace visit. Now, the campaign kicked off with an unannounced inspection at the Regional Education Directorate, where the minister issued a stern warning to civil servants across the region, cautioning that both chronic lateness and early departures will now attract strict sanctions. And Asabet has more.
For years, it has been an open secret, a silent drain on productivity plaguing the Ghanaian civil service, chronic lateness and early departures. But here in the Bono East region, the authorities are saying enough is enough. The worrying trend of civil servants attending to work late has long been a concern for government, with direct impacts on service delivery and development. But how do you tackle this culture of impunity? The Bono East Regional Minister Francis Owusu-Antwi is putting a new policy into action. A surprise visit, a clear signal that the old ways of doing things are over.
The key performance indicators that I'm looking at is that I'm looking at the reporting time. Very key, because most of the people, instead of them to report around 8:30, you will be there by 10. They have not yet reported. So I'm only giving them alert so that they can meet the reporting time.
The minister's message was twofold. It is not just about what time you arrive, but also about what time you leave. He made it clear that those who close from work earlier than the official time will also face sanctions.
Some of them too close early, of which we are not going to tolerate that. So this is a general statement in the region. So it is going to everybody in the region. Let us report on time and make sure we close as prescribed.
Regional Education Director Nana Kubiajo Bakatei II noted that the Directorate will take the Minister's directive seriously and will be monitoring officers' movements closely, adding that those who neglect their duties will be held accountable.
We are monitoring every officer, knowing where the person is per time. And we are expecting that within the region, if everybody is able to work within the time on task is also key. Some will be present in the office, present on the field, but they are not producing anything or doing anything productive. So my advice is that everybody should add on to whatever legacy they have left, they've come to meet.
The directive from the top has now put every officer on notice. The Regional Education Directorate, a key hub for the region's development, is now the front line in this new culture war. The message now is clear: clock in or face the consequences. The big question now is whether this shock therapy will be the catalyst for a lasting change in work ethic and productivity. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Nkranza.
From Nkranza, let's come back to Accra, because for the first time ever, Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Presec Legon, has clinched their first ever win at the Energy Commission's Renewable Energy Challenge. Now, they won it with a project that blends artificial intelligence and healthcare. Their innovation is an AI-powered system designed to diagnose ailment and assist doctors. And my colleague Jacqueline Ansomayabwa has more in the following report.
My team and I, Presec Legon, the STEM team, we came up with this innovative solution, what we call the HealthPort, a robust system that is fitted with a comprehensive set of sensors.
The boys from Legon Presec dazzle the judges with an innovative AI-powered system designed to deliver primary healthcare services, a brilliant fusion of technology and purpose. The smart machine scans patient, detects ailment, and even conducts live interactive sessions to collect details and make early diagnosis. According to the excited Presec team, their project is just the beginning of something bigger.
A lot of thoughts go through your head, both excitement, nervousness, fear. But I feel like all in all, we still push through, and it's been a very exciting journey all in all. We are really glad that we've made it this far.
The next step is for the project to go international. We want it to go to international. I mean, we want it to compete with the likes of MIT and those days.
I mean, who didn't see this coming? It's like an expected victory every time Presec is in a competition. So all the other competitions that we are going to be in, don't expect to win because it's always going to be Presec.
Presec is Presec, and Presec is the best. In that light, we shall see light.
A Hunterman Girls Senior High School, who placed second after finishing fifth last year, say the improvement alone feels like a win.
For everything happens for a reason. We are very grateful. We've done our best. Last year we were fifth, but this year we came second. We've done very well. Senior
Manager for Renewable Energy Regulation and Project Coordinator for the Challenge, Julius Nkansa Nyako, praised this year's entries. He assured that the Commission's support won't end here. The goal is to see the innovations brought to life beyond the competition stage.
120 schools to participate in such an activity, then it's very, 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 very good. What really stands out for me has been the project that we had that solved some of the health delivery challenges that we had in the country. And you could tell from the winning project, the one developed by the Presecans, if such a project is developed further, this can be used in remote areas, rural communities, or even in the cities. The Commission is looking beyond just a winning project. We are going to collaborate with our partners to look at all the 6 projects that came to the finals and see how best we can work together to develop all these projects and see which of these could be commercially viable.
So, as the lights dim on this year's Renewable Energy Challenge, it's clear Presec Legon has sparked a new wave of innovation that could redefine how technology powers healthcare in Ghana. For Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansama Yaboa.
Well, congratulations to the Presec boys. Away from that, the Queen Mother of Aguna and Sabah, Nana Joan Kansa Ejim III, who also serves as president of the Central Regional Queen Mothers Association, has appealed to the government to urgently rehabilitate the poor road network in the Aguna East constituency and its surrounding communities. Now, she described the stretch between Winneba Junction and Aguna and Sabah as particularly deplorable, stressing that the situation has severely affected economic activities in the area, especially those of women traders and farmers. The following report has more.
Kansa Ejim III said the poor road networks have had far-reaching consequences for the local economy. Farmers struggle to transport their produce to market, traders are losing income due to rising transport fares, and communities are becoming increasingly isolated. She warned that if the issue is not addressed, it could further worsen poverty levels and discourage investment in the area.
Na nimpatema efa na Aguna East and West ekwan a eye ebia efi Suedro obefa Konyako to den Bodriase akwan aka nyina asai eno nti yenim sa ye maame de oka obeye osia oyo na ye fasa akwanja yisu asre ye maame se one ye papa eye president John Dramani Mama ono so ono ne Ghana fo ye hope yenim sa one ne bedin sa wo so na big push no yate edin a woboboy yate Suedro nambo ada akwan no de yante.
MP for Aguna East, who presented and 11 Sita minibus to the Queen Mothers in the area at a brief ceremony. Queen Star Pokuya Asoya reaffirmed the Mahama administration's commitment to improving infrastructure and social amenities in the constituency.
Today, we particularly spoke about three things: the youth, the water, and then the roads in Aguna East. Thankfully, within 8 months of the governance of President Mahama, we've been able to secure so many schools, 6 classrooms and dormitories for Aguna East. And then the only thing I would say we haven't started working on it within these 8 months is our roads. And I know we have the big push. I spoke to the roads minister, Honorable Kwame, and he has promised us with the big push that he's coming to get the Shedru-Diakwa road done. So I'm waiting for him within the next 1 or 2 weeks. We might move on the road.
The brief ceremony was witnessed by the Central Regional Minister Eko Penyin and the Aguna East District Chief Executive Samuel Oscar Mensah, among other officials.
Away from that, the national president of the Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, Professor Samuel Antitunu, has described the recent report of inappropriate teacher-student relationships as deeply unfortunate. Now, speaking at the closing ceremony of the 2025 Koesa Sport Festival in Cape Coast, Professor Antitunu reaffirmed the commitment of college principals to producing new generation of disciplined, ethical, and professional teachers. He emphasized that beyond sport, such platforms play a vital role in shaping values, teamwork, and respect amongst teacher trainees.
Can you believe if Ghana export even 1,000 athletes a year, the revenue that it will have brought to the country, it will be so great.
The 12th Biennial Sports Festival of the Colleges of Education Sports Association, KOSA, united Ghana's 46 colleges of education for a week-long spirited competition and celebration across several sporting disciplines. At the closing ceremony, President of the National Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, Professor Samuel Antitunu, praised organizers and participants and weighed in on recent controversies involving teacher-student relationships.
I think it is unfortunate about what happened recently at one of the secondary schools concerning some relationships between a teacher and then a student. For us, I stand to say that we are totally against it as managers of the colleges, and the teachers that we train ethically, the students or the pupils who come into their classrooms, the teacher is supposed to protect them. And that is not acceptable professionally and on moral and ethical basis. So we continue to inculcate in our teachers moral and ethical values that when you are standing in a classroom before a people, the people have trust in you. Parents have trust in you. So you are the number one person who should protect them if somebody is exhibiting that relationship. So as Prince Chair, I'm against it, and to assure you that the teachers that we are training will ensure we don't have such things happening.
KOSA's national president, Very Reverend Dr. Joseph Inchia Samoa, lauded the athletes for their impressive performances and highlighted the critical role of discipline in teacher training.
Those who have some disagreements use the appropriate channels for redress. This shows that as teacher trainees, they are law-abiding, and we continue to instill that kind of discipline in them. No sports is about discipline. So if they're able to exhibit this kind of discipline, then we are happy. We know that after here, when they go to their various schools as teachers, they also try and allow their students to be disciplined.
The Ashanti, Bono and Ahafo regions, Ashba Zone, emerged overall champions. Some team members emphasized perseverance and teamwork in advice to encourage future participants.
This year, especially those people that we use for the competition, most of them are in the level 100. And I'm sure next 3 years or next 2 years by now, they can do it again.
Let's do business now. But before that, how much is the dollar trading against the cedi? Well, let's find out in the currency market. You're welcome back. Now, the price of gold has hit record levels on the international market. Various international trading platforms are quoting slightly above $4,000 an ounce earlier today. Now, the development may come with some excitement for the economy. But are there challenges ahead with that? Well, there's more in the following report.
For some individuals, the immediate impact will be on the country's export earnings from the commodity. Data from the Bank of Ghana show that as of the end of August this year, Ghana realized more than $11 billion from gold exports. This was far higher than the $6.6 billion in August 2024, and these are only the official figures. The development has also gone a long way to help improve Ghana's international reserves, which have now reached more than $10 billion. This puts the Bank of Ghana in a strong position to support the cedi's stability. It is believed that together with Ghana's gold purchase program, strong export earnings and the dollar reserve accumulation program have played a major role in the cedi's sharp appreciation earlier this year. Some market watchers have even argued that soaring gold prices earlier this year also contributed to the recent economic stability the country is enjoying. But the interesting bit about these rising gold prices is their impact on illegal small-scale mining, popularly known as galamsey. Some industry players have argued that one of the major drivers of galamsey is the rising price of gold. This could push more people into the environmental menace we are trying hard to stop. Well, global investment giant Goldman Sachs has even projected that it could hit $5,000 before the end of this year.
Away from that, financial analyst Nelson Kujo-Kwagbeji has expressed doubt banks will comply with the Bank of Ghana's appeal to lower their lending rates to support economic recovery and private sector growth. Now, he argues the continuous rise of non-performing loans will deter commercial banks to lower their rates on credit advanced to the private sector. Now, speaking to Joy Business's head of finance at Melbourne Capital, Nelson Kujo-Kwagbeji said it will be difficult for the banks to comply.
That is a very difficult one, because if you have a non-performing loans of 21% and you still want to give loans to the private sector, most especially the SMEs, the challenge we have in our country has to do with cost of capital. Now, do you think it will be prudent to give loans to somebody at 25% and the person will end up paying? What kind of business would the person do in a year to pay 25% interest? And so if interest rates should come down to, let's say, single digits, I believe the businesses in Ghana could go to the banks, borrow and pay. And that will eventually lead to the reduction of the non-performing loans of the bank. But to the extent that the borrowing rates or the cost of borrowing is very high, businesses will continue to default, most especially businesses that are into government contracts.
And that's it for business right here on the AM show. But of course, we'll leave you with the commodity market. And right after, bring you sports. My name is Noella Kareniali. We've got a packed show ahead. Stay tuned in.
Time for sports on the AM show with me, Haruna Mubarak. Now, Ghana will be hoping to book a place at the 2026 FIFA World Cup when they take on the Central African Republic in the qualifiers later today at 4 p.m. The Black Stars sit top of Group I with 19 points and could secure a ticket to next year's global showpiece with a victory, provided Madagascar drop points against Comoros. Now, the Black Stars head into the match unbeaten in their last 6 qualifiers, including last month's 1-0 win over Mali. However, head coach Otoo, he says it will be a big danger to underrate their opponent. He spoke to my colleague Nathaniel Atto.
It was good. The boys took sharp. I really like how much effort they took on the pitch, and you can see that they challenged themselves, and this is what we need for tomorrow.
Great. Now, tell me about health, because you know a lot of the time, around times like these, we're also concerned about everybody and the fitness. In terms of fitness, what is the team doctor telling you? Is everybody ready and good to go?
Yeah, we had some minor issues here and there, but today I think everybody trained, so everybody's good to go. I will have just a last final talk, because some are still in the medical room, but I think everybody's good to go.
Now, let's talk about, you know, putting this team together. Every other time the conversation has come up about, you know, having a cohesive side. You have very talented players, but then having a cohesion every other time is not always consistent. What would you have to say to all of the fans who are you know, very concerned about tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I mean, the past have shown that we can't underrate any team. You know, any team can play, can defend, so it's going to be very tough. We had, I think, a very hard morning against Chad. So I hope that we learned out of the mistakes we did there, and I also overthink myself. As always, I'm the first to overthink myself, and I'm very sure that we'll take the right conclusion to beat Central African Republic. Yeah, this is, I mean, at the end, this is also the beauty of football, because, you know, anything can happen, but like I said, we slipped a bit against Chad. It was a big surprise. The problem was, I think, especially like outside the media, everybody was just saying, okay, we have won this game already, but this is not the fact. So you have to play in football, you have to fight, you have to give everything till the last minute, especially defensive-wise, because they all have fast strikers. But like I said, we had a lot of talks. Psychologically also, the teams looked ready. We slipped already once. This was a strong one against Chad, and I'm pretty sure that we took the right conclusion out of this last away game to not do the same mistake again.
Away from the Black Stars, now President John Mahama has presented a cash reward of 500,000 Ghana cedis to the University for Development Studies for winning the World Football Games in China. UDS, who made history as the first African side to win the global competition, paid a courtesy call on the president at the Jubilee House, where they presented the trophy. Mahama praised the team and also announced plans to establish a school sports authority.
My government, through the Ministry of Sports and Recreation and the Ministry of Education, is working to strengthen youth and university sports systems to ensure that talented students or athletes like you are identified, developed, and supported to reach professional levels. And this is what the Minister of Sports and Recreation was talking about. We're setting up the School Sports Authority, which will concentrate on sports from the basic level to the secondary level to the university level. And so it's going to have a separate budget, and it will hold constant competitions amongst universities and secondary schools so that we can identify the talents early and bring them into the national teams. Sports and recreation are integral to Ghana's reset agenda. They promote national unity, discipline, and social inclusion, while creating pathways for youth employment and entrepreneurship. Our goal, therefore, is to develop a new ecosystem where sports is seen not only as entertainment, but as a viable sector contributing to Ghana's economic growth. We're therefore investing in sports infrastructure, talent development programs, and recreational facilities across schools, and communities, ensuring that young people everywhere can discover and nurture their potential. This is 500,000 Ghana cedis to be presented to Professor. It's a reward to the team for the good job you have done. Thank you.
And recreation, yes, please join them. Ready?
Now, one of the standout moments of the final was an Olympico goal, a rare strike scored directly from a corner kick netted by UDS player Ezzedine Al-Hassan. The attacker revealed he's been practicing that set piece regularly and now dreams of playing for the Black Stars and Manchester United in the future.
It's not the first time of me scoring such a goal. Although the other two, I've scored like 3 goals. 3 goals of that kind. Although the other 2 is not in an official game. This one, I was just lucky that it was in an official match. So when we got the corner, I made my mind that I was going to shoot at the goalkeeper. And I executed it well.
So what, have you been practicing for such, goals or what?
Yes, yes.
Olympico, they call it?
Yeah, Olympico.
Okay. So you've been practicing. When you go to training, you practice?
Yes, yes.
Wow. So you were not surprised that you scored?
I wasn't surprised. Just that the time that it came, I was overwhelmed with joy. I didn't even know how to celebrate. I just pulled off my shirt and I started running.
Tell me, so what has it been like, after winning this trophy? I'm sure you've been to a lot of places. What has it been like? Family calls from family, friends?
It's not easy. It's not easy. I've received several congratulatory messages, and it's not easy. I'm just happy right now.
What do you see yourself in the future?
Playing for the national team and one of the biggest clubs abroad.
Okay. What team do you play for?
Karela United.
Karela United.
Yes, please.
Okay. So you're hoping to play for the Black Stars in a bigger team?
Yes.
Okay, you want to mention a specific team?
Manchester United. That's my favorite club.
Okay.
To the Ghana Premier League, Asante Kotoko will look to bounce back to winning ways when they host Bibiani Gold Stars in an outstanding fixture at the Baba Yara Stadium later today at 7 p.m. The match was postponed earlier due to both clubs' participation in CAF interclub competitions. Now, Kotoko, who were held to a goalless draw in their last game against Heart of Lions, have no excuse but to claim all 3 points. Here's their head coach, Karim Zito.
It is now incumbent on us to be able to win this game because when we've set, as I said, we've set the target of winning the league. And in the home matches, all the points, apart from Hearts of Oak, will make it everybody's game. We said everybody who comes here should go without a point. So this is Asante Kotoko drawing today. So in Wednesday, there's no excuse. We have to do everything possible to win. If we want to make our impact on our objective of winning the league, we should start from now. I don't look at the factor of them being eliminated by Algeria. I'm talking about Ghana League, and we are all going to play. They may count like wounded target because they were eliminated, so they will come out to try for the next year again. So I think it won't be easy for me, but at all costs I have to win that game.
Coach, looking at the record of Kotoko and Gold Stars at the Baba Yara Stadium, it has been a near perfect record for Kotoko. We are yet to lose to them over here. How do you plan to maintain that record?
Well, if history is anything to go by, it means we have to win.
good morning once again, and thank you for choosing us this morning. Is your favorite breakfast show, and it's time to review the news. I've got loads of newspapers here, and I shall run you through the headlines quickly. But this morning, and it's a Wednesday, special one, so we're joined by Dr. John Osei-Kwapon, CDD Fellow, as well Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political scientist. You find him at the University of Ghana, and Suleiman Abrahima, Executive Director, Media Foundation of West Africa. I shall now bring you what's happening in front of the newspapers, and as well run you through the matters arising. And so the News Center this morning is reporting and asking the question, who is blocking Rectron deal? And this is in relation to Airtel Tigo and the fact that the communications minister some time ago hinted that there were going to be some sort of a merger. The Telecel and Airtel Tigo shall be meshed, at least to offset some of the debt, the high debt that that area has incurred. But it looks as though there is a private company that at least wanted to be the one overtaking this deal, but looks like the News Center is reporting there's some sort of a sideline over there. The story is on page 2, and if you're interested, you can read as well. And it continues to say, sidelining 1.15 billion rescue package for 50 million Telecel Electrum Vodacom offer. And as well, the News Center is as well reporting 25 million bail, 5 sureties kept to me in custody. That's the News Center. PNFT this morning as well is reporting BOG steps up banking oversight. Story is on page 3. And the Ghanaian Times this morning as well is reporting Tamale to the world. President Mahama lauds a UDS on the World University Games triumph as well, and the 2025-2026 National Service applicants to reapply. This is from the National Service Authority as well. The Daily Guide this morning is reporting Wontumi arrested again, and 25 million Ghana cedis bail for mining offenses. Story is on page 3 as well. And Accra submerged on the flood waters again. Story is on page 6. And one killed in bloody chieftaincy clash. Story is on page 6 as well of the Daily Guide this morning. And the Insight, Pan-Africanists unite for reparative justice and liberation. Story is on page 3 of the Insights this morning. And another one that will interest you, the principle of bail as cornerstone of just system as enshrined in Ghana's constitution. Lawyer Kwame Owusu-Danso has as well been writing. And the custodian finally this morning says that Dame trashes Richard Jakpa vile claims, and is on page 2 of the custodian this morning. And ex-vice president Baumia pays bills of 6 children on birthday, and broke parliament in slow motion. Repeal of Galamsey law in limbo. Story is on page 3. That will be all the biggest headlines in front of the newspapers. Of course, if you went to my Joy Online this morning, there are many stories that you'll find over there. But let's get into the news review, and maybe I shall run you through the matters arising again. Chairman Wontumi still in police grip as lawyers raced against time to secure his release yesterday after being charged with 6 criminal charges for alleged breaches of the mining laws. We'll get into that. And as well, the question where a lot of people are asking, and even civil society, where are the Galamsey kingpins? And this question is coming on the back of the arrest of about 100, a little over 100 people by NIMUS yesterday in relation to illegal mining. We shall as well, at some point in the conversation, deal with the lead counsel for removed Chief-Justice Gertrude Isaba-Tokono, who's been lashing out at the former Auditor-General Daniel Domelevo, describing his act as shameful after Domelevo accused him in an interview that he produced fake documents to the committee sitting on the case of the former Chief Justice. So let's get into it. Good morning, Dr. Kwapon. Thank you for joining us this morning. And if I have Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante as well, good morning. Which one shall I go to? Let me go to Dr. Kwapon this morning.
Good morning to you as well.
Thank you so much. It's midweek. What do you have on your mind? Let's go.
Well, good morning to you. Good morning, Dr. Asah-Asante. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Good morning, sir.
I think the biggest thing that continues to catch everybody's attention is the issue of Galamsey. It is gaining new attraction since the last demonstration in, I think it was in September. and there is increasing calls on the government to show leadership and take more decisive action against this menace that people are starting to scream and say, look, we really ought to do something about it, and ought to do something about it now. I wrote about it last week in the Daily Graphic, in which I reflected over some of the challenges and what seems to be at some point taking the politics out of it if we are to get to a place where we can agree that this is not an issue that should be looked at strictly through the lenses of political dividends in terms of who wins and who loses on the issue politically. Because whether you win or lose on this issue politically, the devastating effects of Galamsey doesn't know party colors. And so I know the government is feeling the pressure and is feeling the heat, but that is why we elect governments. We elect people into power so they can address our most vexing public problems. So we'll see what happens from now on and the extent to which decisive action and other policies are implemented, in addition to the other things that the government has regularly updated citizens in terms of what they are trying to do to fight the menace.
Okay, I'll go to Dr. Sasante. Doc, what's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, MFA, good morning to you and good morning to Dr. Osai-Kwapong and of course our viewers and listeners. This morning, I want to take my story from the lessons that I've learned from Namibia. Just recently, you saw Namibia coming out as the only country in the world to have 3 top of their political heads being women: the president, the vice president, the speaker of parliament, and then the general secretary of the ruling SWAPO party. Very interesting accounts. And they've shown the way. Not only that, but if you look at their cabinet, about 57% of cabinet, and when we say cabinet, it's a small group of people who make all the important decisions with the president or the head of state, and 57% are women. Aside that, they've been able to breach the gender gap by 81.1%, emerging as the best country in Africa in terms of gender sensitivity, and about the 8th in the world. This example is a shining one and commendable. And I was looking at it and then just opposing that on Ghana, and I said, what are the missing links here? And today I'll focus on MPP because MPP is about to elect their leaders and all that. And I look at it in Ghana. What is the case here? But let's look at the MPP. There are missing links here. MPP is a mass party. There's no doubt about that. There are people in all walks of lives who are in the party. Ethnic groups, religious groups, civil groups, and the rest. And they have a lot of people from different backgrounds. But look at their last primaries. That is the last primaries that they held in 2024. 10 contestants. No woman was in there. No woman. I know the party is very sensitive to gender issue. That one, I can credit them. But I want to see more. No woman took part in the contest. This year, you have 5 contesting, no woman. It's worrying. It's a worrying sign. And I will expect them to lift up their game so that we have more people, or more women, that is what I want to put it bluntly, coming in to contest. MPP has a whole lot of human resource, a lot.
Right.
So I want them to be able to support women so that they come to the fore. All right. Not only that, you've seen that, yes, issue of debate is also missing. And I want to see this time around they should be able, the 5 contestants, allow for debate so that we know the stuff that those candidates are made of. Debates are important because we are able to know the policy positions of each person, the differences in the policy positions, the leadership style. We are able to know who has what it takes to lead the country,
right,
or lead a party,
right.
And above all, we are able to know those who have what it takes to be in office, having assessed all our problems, and they have the solutions to our problems. So I will urge them to come out with what? A debate, so that we will see all those 5, what they have under their sleeves. And that will help voters to be able to gauge them and see which of them will wealth his salt to lead the party.
I mean, thank you for giving me hope, because when I look at Namibia, definitely I am motivated and as well inspired. And I'll go to Solomon Abrahama. Good morning for joining us this morning. And what's in the news has your attention?
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning, Dr. Kwapong, and good morning, Dr. Ansah Santi. It's a pleasure to be here after a few weeks of being away. I think that the issue of Galamsey remains a very, very critical one, because it certainly has significant implications for our future and even now, and we cannot talk enough about it. I think it's been the topic over the past couple of weeks, and legitimately so. I do recognize that it is not an easy and a straightforward matter to deal with. It's very complex, it's very complicated. We have over 1 million of our people involved in Galamsey as their means of survival. And a lot will tell you that they are into Galamsey not as a matter of choice, but as a matter of necessity and a way to survive. So I do recognize that it's not easy to drive away millions of people from whatever is giving them their means to survive. But of course, the consequence is that if we allow it to continue, a time may come. It's not just about 1 million people who would be affected, but the entire nation. And therefore, whatever it takes to resolve it, we must ensure that it is resolved. I believe President Mahama has the best of opportunity now, at this moment, between now and maybe end of year or into half of next year, to deal with this matter in a comprehensive manner. And I say this time because the reality is that as soon as we get into the elections fever, I mean, the whole thing becomes even deeply political. And at that point, we know our politicians, it's about winning power. And when we win, we'll deal with it and all those promises. So our hope is this time, when the goodwill is still there, the public support is still there, there's less of, elections, debate, and so on and so forth. And I believe that all of us must do whatever we can to support the government to deal with the Galamsey issue. It's about dealing with the government people, the NDC people who are involved now. We did a report not long ago about Prestia Huni Valley, where persons who are known to be NDC people, backed by the MP for the area, who is an NDC MP, were involved in illegal mining after driving away, owners of a concession, owners of a legitimate concession. And so I think dealing with the matter involves dealing with the party people who are involved in it. If NDC people are rooted out, I don't think that persons affiliated with the MPP would have the courage to say that they would want to continue. And so for me, that is the starting point. Even as we recognize that is a very difficult matter. It is not the young people carrying the shovels and the pickaxes and so on in the pits who matter. It's not about arresting hundreds and thousands of these young people. It's about identifying and arresting the kingpins behind it, without who these boys would not be in the trenches to do Galamsey. And I think that is very significant. And I want to touch on the second point, which is that apart from this Galamsey issue, The second major challenge of our country is corruption. And I want to say that I'm not seeing enough in terms of the commitment towards the fight against corruption. And I say so because a lot of the terrible deals that happened under the NPP are continuing to happen. An example is this National Lottery Authority deal that we have been talking about that unfortunately, I would say, well, some of our compatriots in the media are either on the side of KGL or even turning a blind eye. In the coming days, we would continue to reveal why that deal is a bad deal and continue to reveal why the current leadership at the NLA, particularly the board of the NLA, why it is so curious that they know the facts and have remained quiet. And as I said, it is not just at the NLA. A lot of the contracts, a lot of the deals that happened in the ministries, departments, and agencies are continuing to happen. And I don't think that this is the reset agenda. For the reset agenda to happen, what must be done is to disrupt, abrogate, discontinue a lot of the practices or almost all the bad practices that was happening under the previous regime so that this country can be put on the right foot. And as I said, in the coming weeks, we would continue to reveal a lot of these things that happened and then question why the leadership of these institutions, the agencies, the ministries and departments are looking at these deals to continue to happen. And for now, that is what I would say.
Right. Thank you, Suleiman. When there's time, we'll get into it a bit shortly. And maybe the question, when I get time, I'd be asking you would be, after you have brought these investigative piece to the fore, usually which of the agencies, the investigative agencies, do you really hope will take it up? And what's the posture? I mean, you've been assessing that the fight against corruption is not very strong for you, but what would you prefer they would start from? But let's get back to the illegal mining and Muntumi's arrest. And I'll come to you, Dr. Saekwapon. 25 million Ghana cedis bail. I mean, for all of the charges together, for the first set of charges, 15 million Ghana cedis, and then when he was rearrested, 10 million as well, together 25 million. But my question really is, these are quite related, though different charges. What is this criminal procedure of rearresting when we have charged the same person in quite related charges? If you understand my question, what does it mean when we want to take away the politics of these fight against illegal mining? What would you like to see about it?
So you're right. I'm not sure what or the reason behind why some of charges are preferred against persons in the manner that our law enforcement agencies do them or courts do them, right? That one set of charges, perhaps maybe it's one set of charges together with particular people, or it's the nature of the offenses that constitutes those first set of charges, and then the nature of the issues that constitutes the second set of charges, and therefore that whole rearresting. But you're right. The key thing is you just hope that regardless of how it is done, whether if it's 10 charges and all slammed, brought against you at once, or whether it's split in two different sets of charges, whatever the legal reasons are behind the way these things are done. Yesterday, as I was reflecting on it, I said to myself that when the year started and certain persons will be invited, you would see, the amassing of their party supporters and their party faithfuls, to sort of show solidarity with them. And the showing of solidarity is not necessarily problematic in terms of the politics around these things. But I think for matters of accountability, it can potentially send the wrong message, or has the potential to delegitimize, a state process that is trying to ask people whom the state believes have allegedly run afoul of the law to explain themselves. And so yesterday, the scenes were remarkably different. And for me, I watched it and I said, I'm glad that the politics of it wasn't as heightened as the initial arrest, because you don't want to send this message that there's nothing legitimate about the state being interested in persons they believe have done something that goes against the law and want them to be held accountable, or at least answer some questions about it. Because if accountability becomes purely a matter of politics, especially around the Galamsey issue, then it leaves us nowhere in terms of it makes the fight even more difficult to engage in.
Right. I'll go to Dr. Sasanti. Dr. Sasanti, did it come to you as a surprise when you heard about the rearrest and also arranged at a different court before? I mean, unfortunately, he was unable to. Well, the CID, as we've been reading, has not been able to verify the sureties and things that they needed to verify for him to be able to exit the custody of the police. But what does it look like for you? Optics, rearrest, if you put it all together, 25 million Ghana cedis bail bond. I'd like to hear your thoughts, really.
I am happy that, as Dr. Osanyekwapo has said it, we have not seen the politics of it. It's my hope and prayer that we maintain what is the law, nothing more, nothing less, so that the person is just, an accused person. He has his rights, and that all these things will be respected. Once you do that, and the person has his day in court to prove himself, I am fine. Democracy has won. So me not being a lawyer, I will not be able to know all the fine details that call for arrest and rearrest. I don't know.
Yeah.
But all that I know is that that everybody has a right, and your right must be respected. You are given opportunity to defend yourself when you are accused, and that is what I expect the state to do. Any other thing, for me, becomes secondary and unnecessary.
Okay. I'll stay with you because these charges, if you look at the years, will mean that it happened all through 2020, 2022, 2023. And yet the previous government didn't find these charges. Well, if they did, we were told that the docket went missing strangely. At least, if I've not heard anything, I read Kukwaza's write-up on the fact that the docket went missing, and that is justice stolen. But fast forward, we're in 2025, and we've seen nearly about 6 charges. Does it come to you as a surprise, despite we're not seeing the political theater currently between yesterday and this morning? What does it come to you like in governments and when they change power? Clearly, can you talk about the political will as of the previous government?
These things are very difficult to answer, especially if you are not a lawyer. So
right.
I want you to spare me that,
okay.
so that I move on into other areas.
Okay.
Because to be honest with you, I am not familiar with all the fine legal details. And these things are very contentious issues that I want to stay
I totally understand.
When I have no
I'll spare you that, Dr. Sasanti. I'll go to Sulemana. Sulemana, I'm certain that this is quite an area of interest for you. You've followed this keenly. My question really is the practice of, though it's very potent in our criminal laws, the practice of rearresting the same person under different charges. If you look at these particular charges, they're quite related, same area, still undermining. What would you say? Was it necessary? Couldn't we have just put all the charges together so that at least the person is able to facilitate their bail, and then they are not kept in custody for a long time? Did we really need this? Break it into sections, charge the person in a different court and all of that? How do you feel about it?
Well, not being a lawyer as well, I'll be cautious in going into the details of this, except that I would say, I think that the lawyers would always try to strategize and see how they can handle a case in a strategic way so that they can get what they want, which is usually a conviction or a fine, or in other words, making sure that the case is prosecuted successfully. And so in this matter, I want to believe that the Attorney General has his own strategy that they want to deploy. And if in that strategy, what they feel is preferring separate charges is the best, I think they understand the law. They understand the rules of the game. They understand the strategies of court. And so we would grant them that. For me, what is of concern is if it happened under the MPP, and therefore whoever was behind it is being prosecuted. If things have happened under the NDC, the people behind it must also be prosecuted. I think, as I said, even in the fight against corruption, right from the days of President Kufuor, what we've seen is that so Kufuor came and the people who were prosecuted were mainly the previous NDC, the Rawlings appointees. And then Professor Mills took over, and the clamor was for MPP people to be prosecuted. President Akufo-Addo took over, and what did we see? It was about previous Mahama Mills appointees who were lined up, to the extent that you could see clear infractions committed by MPP people, but because they are MPP people, they are allowed to go scot-free. And now President Mahama is back. Yes, people who committed crimes under the previous regime must be taken on. The law must be allowed to work to full effect. But I think what yields credibility in all these is when a government has the courage to deal with its own people. I think it is at that point that a lot more people will be convinced that the government of the day is indeed committed to ensuring that justice is done, and justice is blind. It knows no NDC nor MPP. I think that is what we want to see. That is not to say that what is going on is not right. I mean, if Wontumi committed crimes, he should be dealt with. But I'm saying that in the same vein, if we have NDC people committing similar or same crimes, we want to see them also being prosecuted.
Right. Let's get even a bit further, especially because of the arrest of Naimus. Beyond the CSOs asking that, let's look for the kingpins, the financiers, which you have actually also mentioned this morning. The president, when he met the CSOs as well, was quite concerned and said that their focus will be on the financiers. Let's just remind ourselves what the president said, and then we can ask questions about the arrest of these people, which people like Sulemana says that, well, they're there because they need jobs. And how are we even going to be able to find the kingpins and then the financiers? But take a watch.
Somebody raised that, what are we doing to the kingpins? Because most of those 1,400 who have been arrested are young youth who are looking for something to be able to look after themselves. And we'll prosecute them, we'll imprison them. But those who run those operations are the ones that we must be arresting and imprisoning, not these little boys, And so we need to change our strategy. We can arrest the boys and all that. Be given, there's no slap on the wrist. What's the least sentence? 15 years. 5 to 15. Yeah, so we'll catch these boys and we'll feed them for 5 years, look after them for 5 years, and discharge them. But like I'm saying, maybe we can look rather for the kingpins and deal with them in a major way so that we are able to get something on this whole thing.
Well, again, just recently when the Public Accounts Committee sat, we realized that, or would be hearing that other prisons, at least, they've approved that they're not going to be feeding them with 1 CD 80 pesos. It's been increased to 5 CDs, though the money hasn't been released yet. The question a lot of people are asking is that if Naimus is able to arrest hundreds of illegal miners, nearly every day, our prisons are going to be congested. The president says that we should find the kingpins, but how?
Well, I think that they are known. Look, I mean, these people, when they are arrested and they are asked, I mean, under whose instructions or under whose supervision or whatever it is you are working, they would certainly identify who their bosses are. I don't think that these young people coming from various corners of the country have the capacity to buy excavators. I don't think they have the capacity to buy all the other equipment that are used in the Galamsey sites. And so they know. And as I said, not long ago, we did a publication indicating that these NDC people are involved in illegal mining in Huni Valley, in Pristia, in the Pristia area. And we gave evidence that the MP for the area had written to, Electricity Company of Ghana to say that reconnect the site for these people to work. We did indicate that national security went in to drive these people away and all of that. And the people who were involved actually did a press conference to react to our publication. And at that press conference, they did confirm that, yes, they are doing the mining. They did confirm that, yes, the MP for the area is supporting them. Have they been arrested? In fact, the information that I have is that these folks are still back there doing the mining. Even after there was disconnection of electricity, they've gone back there. And do they have a license to mine? Has Minerals Commission granted them any license? Has the EPA granted them any license? Has the minister signed any license for them to mine? In fact, as far as I know, the minister says that since he assumed office, he has not signed any mining license. So how come these people are there mining and nobody is doing anything to them? So I think that, like I said, President Mahama has now and maybe the next 6 months to crack the whip. And it is one thing that I'm sure he can do that people will remember him forever.
Right.
I also know that the government had decided to introduce this cooperative mining scheme. I am wondering what is happening to it. After our brothers were involved in that tragic accident and passed on, I think that it will be a betrayal, even if we don't do anything to ensure that that cooperative mining scheme that was going to be launched by these people that, unfortunately, the accident happened. If we don't have it done, it will be quite a betrayal. And I'm wondering where that is. Because the truth of the matter is that it is not possible to say that people should not do mining in Ghana. I think what we are all saying is that people should be involved in sustainable mining, regulated mining, and legal mining.
Right.
And therefore, the cooperative scheme that was being proposed and the way I understood it would be a mechanism that would allow that all these young people who feel they don't have jobs and they would be in the illegal mining business can still be in mining, but mining that is regulated, mining that is sustainable, and mining that is legal. So I'm wondering why there is so much delay in rolling out the the cooperative mining scheme. I want to believe that in the coming weeks, the government will take that seriously and ensure that it is effectively implemented.
Okay, I'll go to Dr. Sasanti. Dr. Sasanti, so the NIMOS arrested about 100 illegal miners. They say that it is a notorious hub for galamsey, drugs, and other things that you do not want a society to have in their society or in their communities. If all these people are found guilty, it means that they're going to be thrown into prisons. And quite recently, the president granted nearly about 1,000 people amnesty. This will mean that the prisons are quite free of just about 1,000 people. But if NIMOS continues the way they're going, then there's going to be more arrests. He also said that, let's look for the financiers. Sulemana believes that the financiers are known. He has actually cited the Pristia Huni Valley matter. And so is this to say that the government is cherry picking, or what?
I think one of the main problems in this area is lack of political will. Because you can find the campaigns. Anybody who commits offense in this country, if the state want to fine you, the state through its apparatus will be able to get you. So what you're saying, I don't get it. The campaigns, are they on the Mars, on the moon, or they are here in Ghana? You should be able to find them. The capacity of the state is weak in this direction. I'm talking about the regulatory capacity, the ability of the state to make law and enforce them. All right. Because the campaigns are found in the political parties. They are afraid to touch them. That is all. Because you can find them. And if you don't have a clue, talk to the boys that you have arrested. Who are your, sponsors and all that? They will point at them. The government, I don't want to know this. I don't want to hear this. All that I want to know is that they either fight or they don't fight. But I believe strongly that that can never be an excuse. All right. The boys also been thrown to jail. People are worried that, hey, we already have a situation on hand that the prisons are, they need to be decongested and all that. That argument also cannot hold any water, in the sense that, are we saying that in spite of the difficulty, the accommodation problem that we have in the prisons, we are not going to imprison people who go contrary to the law? That cannot work. All right. Once you commit
in
offense,
instances where we know that we are on some sort of agreement that these young people are there because they don't have jobs, whether or not that's true, it looks as if that is the consensus. And so if you find one person who is sponsoring these 100 illegal miners, right, and you arrest that person, and at least these 100 people do not go to jail, of course, we're punishing the real perpetrators, but we're still not congesting the prisons.
You have not solved the problem.
You haven't.
That approach is totally wrong. Because, look, when you get the boys, you have cut the supply. These people have put them there because they are working on their behalf. If the boys are no more there, who is going to work on their behalf? And then we expect them to come forward and work. Get the two in prison, and then you deal with the problem. You can get the campings, but the boys will find, remember, they can use ordinary tools to also mine. When you find them also mining with simple tools and all that illegally, what are you going to do? You are running away from one problem to compound the other problem. Get the two arrested so that it serves as deterrent to those who, want to, harbor that, nurture that type of approach in dealing with or in mining. No, it's no. The government must be bold, deal with the boys so that you cut the supply of the financiers and deal with the campings as well.
It can't be one. It cannot be one of the two. Okay, especially because
you can
there's
get all
enough
the
supply.
campings.
Right.
If you get all the campings, are you sure that the boys will not go to the field and then do illegal mining with simple tools and all that? The answer is what? Positive, that they will go. So deal with the boys and deal with the campings.
What do you say to people who argue that, well, that has been the case because, of course, years ago, Galamsey existed, but it wasn't worse because they couldn't afford the kind of machinery that we use today. And so the boys were still mining with smaller tools, but the devastation was not this much.
No, it's just a matter of time. When you start, a time will come, you improve your efforts, and you'll be able to deal with the situation in a more aggressive manner. That is where we destroy the forest and the environment. And so for me, it's a two-pronged approach that you need to handle it at a go if you are serious about it. But all that I've seen over the years, that we have governments that lack the courage, the capacity, the will to deal with problems head on. They always want to dodge and then create all manner of excuses and all that. The issue about the fact that they don't have jobs. The youth have not had jobs for years. Is it to say that they can engage in illegal activities just to make ends meet? Can you say that you want the youth, they don't have jobs, so when they rob, when they steal, it's in order because they want to find cocoa or something to eat? Is that the case? It is not. So government must deal with what problem of unemployment, and at the same time, we still build on our social program. Socialization must go on to inculcate proper values in people and all that. But that is not to say that you don't want to create job for them. Create job for them, and then you run the socialization programs, and at the end of the day, people will have something to do. Otherwise, it will just be a story we tell and come and justify. It will not end as anything. Let us be bold and face the realities head on.
Okay. Dr. Kwapon, let's look at it this way. Do you read, in your readings and in your research as a researcher, do you think that is indeed the fact that we have financiers and young people are ready, or there's a pact of young people who just have the appetite to mine because there's money over there?
It's a combination of all of that, right? So if you look at the sophisticated way, in terms of now they're using, these excavators and other kinds of machines, right? That one side of the equation is those who provide the finance for this illegal activity. And then the other side of the equation is those who supply the labor for this kind of activity. So there's a finance piece, there's the labor piece, but there are also, at least from the perspective of the youth, there are also economic incentives, regardless of how perverse they are, that drives their appetite to engage in this illegal, extremely risky activity. I mean, I understand what Dr. Kwame Asante is saying, which is if you don't have a job and because you need some money, that you go and engage in illegal activity. And I keep saying this over and over again during this Galamsey conversation, which is the NPP government had a model of how you change the economic incentive structure to move those who provide the labor for Galamsey away from an illegal activity to more productive sides of the economy, right? And it was this program called the Alternative Livelihood Program. I'm still curious what kinds of lessons they learned, what made it work, what didn't make it work. One of the things I've heard in general commentary is that the money they get from Galamsey is more than what any alternative livelihood program can afford them. That's fair enough, but I still think it's worth, I still believe it's a conversation worth having as we deal with the finance side, the labor supply side, and particularly thinking about the youth, how you take them away from supplying, being the labor supply for this illegal activity, and how do we sort of reorient them into other productive sectors of the economy, and there the lessons we can learn from these sort of alternative livelihood initiatives, I think, will be very instructive in helping us. Because as the president said, if you take those 1,400 boys, for example, away from these sites, great, you've cut off the supply of labor to these financiers. But you would also have to.
Would there not be more? I think there's a bunch.
Yes, I mean, I'm using even just the number that he used, right? So there will be thousands of these youth who are supplying the labor. So one, you've addressed the labor part of this menace. But I think it is also a conversation worth having to say what now becomes of them, even as you punish them for having supplied labor for an illegal activity. Medium to long term, how are we addressing, the economic pinch points of these youth that unfortunately drive them into engaging in an illegal activity like Galamsey?
Well, Sulemana, I mean, while you think that the current government should have that political will, especially because you've actually just cited your own reference, the Pristian-Huni Valley, just as I've been asking Dr. Kwapon, do you think that despite the financiers and the kingpins as well, young people generally are just having the appetite to mine? Because, of course, if I can get some money there, why not?
Well, I think young people, just as everyone, just like you and I, want to survive, want to make a living, and wants to make money and live well. And so they essentially are looking for opportunities. And if the most immediate opportunity that appears to also be quite lucrative is this Galamsey business, then why not? The truth of the matter is that, I mean, I'm from the northern part of the country. And if you go to the villages in my part of the country, a lot of these young boys have all, moved down into this Galamsey business. And people will tell you, well, it is my son who is in Galamsey who has done this, or my brother in Galamsey is the one paying the school fees of this person, or it is the boy who went to Galamsey who has been able to put up this 2-bedroom house or this 3-bedroom house. So people are making money from Galamsey in a way that perhaps they wouldn't even make, even if they were a teacher or a nurse or a journalist like you and I. So yes, it's a lucrative business. It has its own risks. And people really think that, look, what we want is let's get the money. We don't care about the consequences. And sometimes the other thing is that it's almost like, well, if I say I wouldn't do it, others are doing it anyway. It's really about the fight against corruption that we're talking about. So it gets to a point that you are being told that, oh, well, if you say you want to fight corruption, keep on and keep on, because look, others are making their money and you say you want to fight corruption. So the young man who says, look, Galamsey is not good, it does this, is that, sees the colleague who has gone into it and is driving the latest car or has built a 2-bedroom house and so on and so forth. Right. And that is why I'm saying, as a country, we are endowed. God has given us this endowment, which should make us prosper. And that prosperity should be for all and not for a few. And therefore, what the government needs to do is to regulate the space. And I think that the MPP's community mining, which is almost the same as what the NDC is introducing as cooperative mining, if it was done well, it's perhaps the most appropriate solution to this whole menace that we face. But it was introduced, and again, it went to the political people. It went to MPP polling station executives, MPP polling station officers, MPP constituency days, and so on and so forth. If the NDC introduces the cooperative mining, and it turns out to be another scheme for party boys and party girls, then we would literally be in the same situation, because they would be doing illegal mining under the guise of cooperative mining, and little will be done. So for me, I think His Excellency the President has a golden opportunity in all fronts to make a legacy. This is a significant national crisis. If he is able to deal with it, and dealing with it does not mean impoverishing the people, dealing with it in a way that allows people to mine and be employed in the mining sector in a legal way and do mining in a sustainable way, I think we will all applaud him, we will all remember him, because it's not an easy thing to deal with. But I think that he was not elected to deal with easy things. And I know he knows that. So hopefully we would see robust mechanisms to deal with the situation that we face now.
Hopefully, because one of the ways CSOs believe we can fight illegal mining is the repeal of the airline. Now we're faced with a challenge. This morning, the custodian, Dr. Asante, and I'll just read to you quickly. The custodian is reporting broke Parliament in slow motion and repeal of Galamsey law in limbo. Now, it is emerging from the corridors of Parliament that the legislature is extremely broke, that it cannot convene lawmakers to perform their oversight functions. Ghana's Parliament serves as the legislative body of the country, responsible for making laws, representing the public and overseeing the executive arm of government. However, performance of these functions, the custodian gathered, is becoming increasingly difficult, as the House finds it difficult to even pay sitting allowance to members of Parliament during committee meetings, as well as obligatory allowances to members of staff. Now, this financial setback has invariably affected the resumption of Parliament from recess, as the House, according to insider sources, has already not receiving enough cash from government to service its debt. And while this on a larger scale is a problem, the CSOs are going to have their eyes wide open, because nearly everybody is waiting for the repeal of the airline that allows you to mine in forest reserves. Dr. Asante, beyond this repeal, but this brings the attention to Parliament, of course, because we saw that communique by the Speaker of Parliament saying that the scheduled date for Parliament to reconvene is not going to be possible anymore. What would you have to say about this?
I'm not sure we are in financial crisis, the way the paper want to put it. I mean, I'm not sure, because this government by their records, have shown that we are making progress. I mean, so I'm just a little surprised that because of finance, Parliament and its committees cannot function and the rest of them. That is something too difficult for me to take. But look, let us look at the issue this way. I have listened to the argument from MPP, NDC, and well-meaning people, and I've listened with rapt attention. What comes to mind for me is the fact that we don't have stakeholder engagements. Because they will tell you, if you get a airlife knocked off, we are going to deal with the problem. If you get the boys out, we are going to do this. Why don't you put stakeholders together and then solicit from them the way forward? You will come to a realization that this is how it ought to be tackled. That is the final thing that I expect this government to do. Not only the press conference that, they pose questions, but get them seated and then tap into their brains, what they have. And they will come out with all manner of beautiful ideas, I tell you, that would deal with this. This guideline, when it eludes politicians, I get surprised because we are signatory to the good governance agenda, which says that problems, if you want to tackle them head on, it must be stakeholder. Get the stakeholders together. I tell you, they will provide solution. But all that I see is that political parties don't have the will to do this. But when you get the stakeholders seated, they will force that will to come. Yes. And that's one of the things that we are forgetting when you look at this illegal mining businesses, that from where I sit as a political scientist, I see the activity of the youth, particularly in this area, as a protest against the state. That look, you people are out there, you receive your salaries, perks, and all that. We don't have anything. And I'm not saying this thing to glorify what they are doing or support them, no. But I'm explaining that we don't have it. This is what God has given us. It's on the ground there. I am going for it. And you see them, social media, sometimes they dare the state. Now you bring the soldiers, they'll come and meet us. Can you imagine this? It is sending a message to us, but our politicians have not seen that. That, hey, we need to get up and then work on it. Remember, the former National Security Minister said that the youth who are without jobs and are parading the street and all that, it is something we need to, work at it. This is a time to find them something that they can do. So I am supporting this cooperative business of mining, that you get them trained properly and then you engage them and then people monitor or supervise what they do so that they will earn a living and they will maintain the ecosystem and they improve life. But I'm surprised that this country is struggling in these things where we have the Latin American experience. Go to Chile, go to Brazil and other places. What the Chilean experience, what they do is that they engage traditional rulers, the opinion leaders of the place. People who want to mine, go there, have negotiation with them. And then they tell you the conditions, this is what you do. You only go to the government level to receive clearance and tax certificate and all those things. Yes, so that the people at the local areas are part and parcel of the process. If you are coming from somewhere to come and do something different as to what exists there, they will chase you out. That example exists. Why are we bereft of ideas when ideas abound anyway? So I expect that if the government want to do a good thing, first off, that we need stakeholder engagement. Where they will pinpoint all the issue about, state of emergency, whatever. When stakeholders meet, they'll be able to arrive at something and how to go about it. And then they will support government to succeed in that direction. But if you pick one or two, people tell ideas, stakeholder, get these people, get the water clean. You see the scientists now, they are coming out
anywhere with this.
Telling you that the fact that you have clear water, they are not brownish in color and all that, is not enough to tell you that that water is potable, is fit for drinking.
I'll move on to other issues, but I'll just have Dr. Kwapon also comment on this one, especially with Parliament not being able to reconvene. We all look forward to the repeal of this airline, if not me.
Let me just land before my brother comes in. One more thing is that, look, I see that governments that we've had, don't want to deal with this thing. Because imagine this is the only tax, only question for political parties, that which of the parties can give us the best solution to dealing with Galamsey, then we'll give them our votes. They will move heaven and earth and get solution for us. So for me, it's no excuse. They have it, they know what to do, but except that they don't want to do. But we will not sit down and gloss over this. After all, vigilance is the price of liberty. We will continue to hold their feet to the heat of what? Accountability.
That's quite on.
Yes, it was quite surprising to have read the news that the return of Parliament has been postponed indefinitely. I mean, we need our parliamentarians back at work. There is important work to be done on behalf of the country, on behalf of the people they represent, whether it's the repeal of this LI that has been, part of the anti-Galamsey efforts conversation, whether it's their oversight responsibilities, whether there are other things that, they have to take care of in terms of, the law. I mean, we are entering, we are already in October. Issues of the next fiscal year's budget definitely will come up. So it is worrying. I mean, I know that going back to the LI issue, I know that repeal was promised in the president's 120 days update. He talked about removing certain portions of it that provides perverse incentives to encourage, illegal mining in certain areas, and then going to the parent law. So you amend it, and then you go to the parent law and do the ban on mining in forest reserves. When you put it all together, then you have a comprehensive legislative framework addressing all of these vexing issues around mining in forest areas. Regardless of the approach that is taken, you would still need your parliament to be in session to be able to do that. So hopefully, whatever the issues are, whatever the challenges are, that they can be resolved as soon as possible, so our parliamentarians can return to work and deal with these matters of national importance.
Okay, I will now move on to other things. I'm certain that you may have followed the conversation about the lead counsel for the former Chief Justice, and as well the former Auditor-General Daniel Domelevo. And we're joined by the lead counsel for the removed Chief Justice, Ayikoi Otoo, who's been lashing out at the former Auditor-General Domelevo, describing his act as shameful after Domelevo accused him in an interview that he produced fake documents to the committee sitting on the case of the former Chief Justice. But I've got that video for you. Let's watch and listen first. We get into it.
Now let's come to Mr. Ayikoi Otoo's attack on me. I find it very interesting. He said he has provided all the evidence to Mr. Domelevo, a former Auditor General, and I sat there and I didn't take it, and other people, I was whatever influenced my decision, he doesn't know. I want to put it on record that he provided us with evidence that were fake evidence. It will interest you to know that it is the junior of the Chief Justice, the Judicial Secretary, who appointed the Chief Justice. How is that? Yes, that letter he produced is signed by the Judicial Secretary appointing a Chief Justice. So if you follow the briefing that the Attorney General has been given, a lot of work is going on.
We're joined by lead counsel for the former Chief Justice. We're just seeking a bit of clarity. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. Yesterday, I followed the conversation. One of my questions I'd like to ask you is that I watched that interview quite extensively with KSM and as well Domelevo yesterday. And one of the things that he said that caught my attention was that it looks as though one of the documents which you presented would be that the appointment of the Chief Justice came from the Secretary of the Judicial Service. While yesterday on the news with my colleagues, I also heard you say that it will be the benefits that the Chief Justice would have been enjoying after her appointment, pardon me. Can I get clarity on what exactly the issue is?
Okay, thank you very much. That is why I describe him as very shameful and playing politics with the entire process. Now, this is Domelevo, who
That's an interesting statement.
Who is rated very highly as an Auditor General, and people were not happy when he was hounded out of office. And then such an individual comes on radio or television to tell us that he is not aware that whatever warrant is given to somebody will not contain the person's conditions of service. I brought in Domelevo in my discussions because of the position he had previously occupied as a former Auditor General. And therefore, we felt that once we were dealing with financial issues, he would be the best person to explain to the committee members what the position is. Now, there was an audit, there was an audit query, there was an explanation, and then finally what we call a management letter. In that audit query, they ask about the travels and the payment of per diem given to the lady as well as to the person who accompanied her, being the husband on one occasion and then the daughter on the other occasion. So they raise issue about that. Then the spending officer, who happens to be the Judicial Secretary, explains to them and brings out what she calls the travel policy and says, look, nothing wrong was done when we bought ticket and paid per diem, because these are the travel policies which have been agreed to and approved by the Judicial Council. She did nothing wrong. When the management letter came, those things were dropped completely from the management letter for that particular year. So how come that at the end of the hearing, we saw a report saying that she has still been held liable as being the head of the judiciary for traveling and for getting per diem given to herself and the persons that she traveled with. And that's why I faulted him. That you being the Auditor General, you know all these steps of audit query. When I said audit query, he even at the committee said no, it was rather an audit observation. He was the one who corrected and said, no, maybe an audit observation because we no longer call it audit query. And then we went through the response by the auditee. Then we came to the audit management letter, which did not raise this issue again. How could you have sat there and then gone to the meeting, a final meeting, to make recommendation to the president to say that she get herself involved in a stated misbehavior for what happened, and therefore she should be reprimanded and removed from office? Is she the spending officer? Okay. And it was this spending officer, we tendered that letter to show that after she has been appointed, the spending officer gave her the letter showing her conditions of service.
This letter, which has become the contention as to whether it is fake or not, did it have the letterhead as coming from the Judicial Service, or it had a letterhead saying that it is an appointment letter? Because then I'm quite confused why Daniel Domelevo would say that that document is fake. And that's where my focus really is, without getting into all the other details. This particular letter, did it have the letterhead as appointment letter, or just conditions of services?
No, it would refer to your appointment. As for the appointment, it has already been done by the president.
Absolutely.
So it refers to your appointment and tells you that these are your conditions of service. And he is saying that seeing the appointment of a Chief Justice there means that she was rather the one who appointed the Chief Justice. Was it not in this country when the Chief Justice was appointed?
Was this brought to your attention at the sitting at all?
This is why everybody is surprised at what he's doing.
Was this brought to your attention? Was this brought to your attention at the sitting at all? And
surprised at this attitude that he has adopted. And I'm saying that it doesn't happen anywhere. Let me cite my two previous appointments to you. I was appointed the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. Then the Secretary to the President writes to me on a green paper telling me these are your conditions of service. I was again appointed as High Commissioner to Canada. I had already been appointed by the president. Then they asked us to go for letters from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I said, why should I go there? Nobody is appointing me from there. They said, no, you have to go there because you are now considered as A1 officer working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I went for the letter and it contains all my conditions of service. And that was never signed by the president. He ought to know.
Granted, he indicated in that interview that he's speaking on his behalf, he's not speaking on behalf of the committee.
No, I'm attacking him because of his position as a former Auditor General who goes about auditing people.
To what end then?
Sorry?
To what end would this be then? If he's just speaking, I mean, if he's just speaking on his behalf and then it's not the committee that he's speaking on his behalf, on their behalf, then, well, when we attack him, what end would this bring?
I said that I attacked him because I brought him into the discussion because they ignored these exhibits that we put before them. There is another one which talks about allowances, travel allowances for foreign people, foreign travel in the public services. And it was clearly stated that members of the judiciary and parliamentary service have been excluded. Applicable rates are to be approved by their councils. We also tendered this. They ignored. So he should not say that I said I gave evidence to him, not him as an individual. I'm talking about evidence that we produced before the committee, which were ignored. And we were expecting him, having regard to his former office, to rather bring some leverage, something to bear and to explain to his people, and not that he would turn around, divert attention, and now talk about fake letters. What is that?
That's quite damning, not just on the whole procedure, but as well you, as a former Attorney General. What do you intend doing? Especially he cited that it's fake.
Those questions, don't worry about that. I will advise myself. I know what to do. I mean, if I advise people, I should be able to advise myself.
I'm just curious about the advice you'd give yourself.
I want him to live with his conscience until the day. If what he did, if he felt it was right to go and sit on me as a lawyer, how do I bring fake letters to support my client? If anything at all, it is my client who will produce the letters to me before I will tender them. So how do you zoom in on me? Because I had earlier attacked him, that he went and sat there and looked on when the people were doing wrong things. And we expected him to bring some conscience to bear on what was happening, having regard to his position.
Does it, and some education here, does it come to you as a surprise, knowing that this whole procedure is quite adversarial? The committee sitting down, does it form part of the investigative process where they can just sit down and listen and not necessarily draw your attention, or him, Domelevo, draw the other members of the committee's attention to anything at all? Does it come to you as a surprise?
No, because when they were there, we told them right from the beginning that this is a fact-finding committee. So it would be proper if they could find a counsel and let the counsel lead the witnesses, so that both parties, counsel for both parties, will now have the opportunity to cross-examine. They said no. They have adopted CI 147, which is adversarial. So for them, that's what they were going to do. So they had lawyers there, some of them who pretend to be commentators. One of them is Tadiosori. The other one is Tatutikata. They were those who wrote the petition, and they were those who were leading the witnesses to come and tell stories. And you will see Tadiosori writing and say, oh, a lawyer has said this. He was part of the whole thing, and he was sitting there. Tatutikata was the one who was leading the witnesses, as if we were doing a case in court. Instead of asking maybe the committee itself to lead, and so we all ask questions so that the whole thing looks like fact-finding. It was clearly adversarial. That's what they did. We drew the attention They said they will have none of that. We even told them to see if they can go under CI 65, like a committee of inquiry which has been set up, to use the procedures set up there. They said they will not do that. We told them that a committee of inquiry under the Constitution is the same as a commission of inquiry. So they can do that, use the CI. They said they will not use it.
Which means that it was their sole discretion to choose which one of the CIs they would operate under.
Yes, and so they said they have chosen CI 47. And even there, they have a right to make amendments to it by the chairperson of the committee orally. He can sit there and make amendment orally to it. This is what we went through.
Right, now that they chose the CI 47, this will mean that unfortunately they are unable to even comment on anything, especially what you thought Domelevo could have done. Because of the CI, did you not think that he felt that prohibition to at least advise the members?
No, you are sitting there and hearing evidence. If the law is that we should do a faithful and impartial investigation. So if you are faithful, and according to them, they were sworn in. Even we are saying that we saw no swearing in taking place. And so if they took oath to be truthful to their conscience and they are sitting there doing proper work, if they see anything wrong, wouldn't they appoint it out? Because either side, we could take objection, Tachuchikata could take objection. And on several occasions, we took objection against some documents they wanted to tender. They also took objection against some documents we wanted to tender, and then the committee ruled on it. That is that is how beautiful the whole thing looked like. Then when it came to addresses, having asked for time to file the addresses, they didn't wait for us, and then they went ahead and used the addresses filed by Tachuchikata and Tadiosori to determine this matter. So, for example,
you had no opportunity to file your address. All the addresses were filed by the petitions lawyers.
Yes, because the time we asked, as far as we are concerned, had not arrived, because they told us we could file it within a reasonable time. Even if we have missed the date they gave us, we could file it within a reasonable time. The day we were planning to go and file, or we had sent people to go and file, we saw it on television that they were presenting the report. Meanwhile, there were other 2 petitions pending, which they had adjourned to the 15th of September to hear. And yet they rushed that indecent haste. And in the morning, Domelevo, having the guts to write "the strife is over, the battle is done" on his Facebook before going to present a report. Was this man truthful to himself? Was he doing an impartial investigation, or she saw the woman as a strife that she was fighting against, who must be removed? And that morning, the battle indeed had been done. This is the person we are talking about. I'm very, very annoyed with him, and I think his conduct is very shameful.
I mean, knowing that the procedure and the process is ended, the recommendation by the committee, the president is also bound by it. The application, the judicial review at the High Court by the former Chief Justice, will all of these your concerns find expression in there? Though I know what she's seeking a review on is not directly under this. In trying to mitigate how you feel, will this find expression in this review that she's applied for?
Of course, that is why we are going to court. And let me tell the whole public who are listening that up to today, we have not been served with the committee report and the recommendations. He is saying that he is surprised that the letter came from the Judicial Secretary. Ask him, apart from the revocation of the warrant, which was signed by His Excellency the President, go and ask him who notified the Chief Justice of a removal and the grounds for removal. It came from the Secretary to the President. The President did not communicate anything. In the same vein, that's what I'm telling you. He said he has revoked the warrant appointing a Chief Justice. Now, the reasons, whatever happened, was communicated to her through the Secretary to the President. Does he find that odd? Does he also find that odd? What is wrong? Is that a fake? Can we also say that it is fake because it was not signed by the President? This is public administration. And I think you have people there who should know something about public administration. Is that not the way things are done? You expect your warrant to include everything that the President wants to tell you. This will come later from other offices, and that will never make such a letter fake, and to have opened his mouth to have described that letter as fake leaves much to be desired. It's a disgrace.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning to bring some clarity to this conversation. Ayikoi Otoo is the lead counsel for the former Chief Justice. I'd go to my other panelists and maybe take their comments on this. Hopefully they followed this discussion. Dr. Asante.
Yeah.
You have heard Ayikoi Otoo this morning.
I have listened, but I have a few things to say. One, it is time now for us to look at Article 146 and look at it clearly. Because the in-camera provision in there, that all these things must be done in camera, has been defeated through this process. When the issue started, letters were leaked, we read comments and all that. We saw people who were in that process, in camera, program, come in to tell us what happened in there. I find it a little surprising.
Especially on the side of a person who was part of the committee.
All of them.
I mean,
councils are out there, there telling us what happened in there. Members, you heard Domelevo out there telling us the letter was fake and all that. So I believe that that provision must be looked at because it doesn't help anybody, the in-camera thing, because at the end of the day, I mean, everything is out. But for me, as I was listening to Mr. Ayikoi Otoo, what worries me is that you and I have no access to that letter, which Mr. Domelevo described as what, fake. So it will be very difficult for us to comment on that because we have not seen the letter, the content and all that. We have listened to the two of them. It's worrying because in democracy, transparency is key. So I believe that the crust of the matter is we looking at the 146 and trying to fine tune it so that all these things, look, we can have as the public can follow because we pay those officers who occupy such office. And if we want to remove them, we are entitled to know what happens. And then all that. Look at Lawyer Ayikoi Otoo saying that he has not even received the reports, of what transpired in terms of their ruling or the report that came out. He has not. And all that. We as a public, who finance, whoever be the Chief Justice and all that, we have no knowledge about it. That's unfair to us. And I believe that going forward, we as a state will have to look at these things so that it becomes something that we can assess. We can also follow the conversation and all that. But I don't know whether I heard Mr. Ayikoi Otoo well when he said that the petition were just written by Tadiosori and Mr. Chikata. If that is what he said, and I think it's unfortunate because does he have evidence that they wrote the petitions? Maybe I did not hear him well. So
luckily, though I released him, he's still with me. Just for him to put clarity, I do not think he meant the petitions itself. But lawyer Nico,
I meant the petitions themselves were written by them.
Right.
It is like going to court. If you are going to court, you ask a lawyer to write a claim for you. So your lawyers prepare the petition.
And that's not strange, is it?
Sorry.
No, is it strange?
That's not strange. I am saying that then you see Chachukata are trying to run away from it. But Tadiosori keeps writing things in the media as if he's just commenting as an ordinary lawyer. Meanwhile, he was in there and he was part of. In fact, these two lawyers are the lawyers for the first petitioner, Ofori, Daniel Ofori. They were the lawyers for Daniel Ofori in all the cases that he went to hold to do in court. That's the point I'm making. I'm saying so with all the emphasis at my command.
Right.
They wrote the petition for the man to sign.
Again, just for clarity, if usually a person would hire the services of a lawyer to write their claims or to write a petition, why is this one strange then? Just for clarity.
They then should not hide and create the impression that they are just public officers or people in the public who are commenting, especially Tadiosori. He wrote so many things about this trial. Meanwhile, he was inside. He was a member. I will give it to Chachukata. He never spoke about it. In fact, recently we were invited to TV3 for an anniversary of something they call Agenda. Earlier on, we were going to discuss that one. He said still he wanted to be out of it. He wanted them to drop that topic. So as for Chatuchikata, I will not say anything, but I'm saying that anything you have read during the hearing from Tadiosori, no, that was part of the whole scheme. They wrote the thing and they were there doing those things. They were their lawyers. And I'm saying that on authority.
Okay.
How would Daniel Foreign know what stated misbehavior are and what incompetence, what constitutes incompetence on the part? In fact, if you remember, the day that I came on Newsfile, one of the ladies from Asahi University said she was surprised at the amount of documentary evidence which came from the judiciary. Documentary evidence which came from the judiciary, including some of these things. Everybody had something from the judiciary to tender. How can we open ourselves that loose? For all documents there to be sent to Daniel Ofori, where did he get them from? Where did he get? If the Chief Justice traveled, who gave the information to Daniel Ofori to put it in a petition? If she was giving a per diem, who gave that information out? If there was an audit query, who gave that audit to Daniel Ofori?
Again, for some education, is this to suggest that this information is exclusive, it's not supposed to be in the public domain?
No, they were given to the judicial service. These are things, you have gone to do an audit, you saw something, you drew attention, and you gave the auditee opportunity to explain. The person explains, but like Dr. Asa said, before we went inside, this thing was already on everywhere on social media. That she was given $14,000, which she did not retire. When in fact, she retired it within 3 days that she returned to Ghana. That was why she went to the Supreme Court and said, I don't want this thing to happen in camera. Let us go out because we've already put everything out. Dr. Ansa, I'm telling you, this is what happened. They put everything out there. They leaked everything to the press. That was why she said no. Now I'm also coming out because people are vilifying me and attacking me at every stage when I have nobody to speak for me because they keep telling me that it is in camera. I'm also coming out to say my
if this subject was not the core of the reason why the committee was set up to investigate, and this information as well found its way onto social media, will it be a worry? But for it being part of the investigative process, if we saw it on social media that the Chief Justice spends this amount of money in the travel and all of that, would it be a problem, especially from the audit?
Recently, the acting Chief Justice traveled to London. Have you heard anything about it? Do you know the per diem that he was giving? Do you know who he traveled with? Has it come to the public domain? Do you have evidence as a journalist, knowing how much he was given to travel? Is it proper for these things to be happening?
Why not? For example, this current Chief Justice, if the information is brought to the public, especially because it's the public funds, would it be a problem at all?
And I'm asking you, have you heard anything? Has it been brought to the public?
While I have not, the question really is if it finds its way.
That is not the way things are done. And again, this is something exclusive, and yet it came into the public domain and was used as a ground for removal even before the committee was set up. When we went there, it was already in the public domain. Ask Dr. Ansa whether he did not see those things. So where is he putting the blame? Okay. When before they came, they had already told us that they were coming to reset the judiciary and that they cannot reset the judiciary with that Chief Justice sitting there. They had already said that.
Please stay with me. I'm happy that you have decided to stay with me, but I'll go back to Dr. Sasanti. And Solomon, I'll come to you right after Dr. Sasanti. Dr. Sasanti, you have some answers to your question. Of course, definitely people would have to hire the services of a lawyer, be it a petition, a claim, whatever it is. It's definitely not you that will be writing it, so I'm not surprised. But what triggered this question and your concern?
Yeah, I am also surprised that I want to find out from Ms. Ayikoi Otoo that is it wrong for Tadiosori and to comment like any ordinary Ghanaian to comment on a matter that.
No, I don't think he said that. He means that because he is a lawyer for one of the petitioners, this will mean that it defeats the whole purpose of us carrying everything in camera.
But the woman herself also was out there. In a press conference.
Would it not be because the matter had already found its way onto social media and so defeats the whole in-camera purpose?
And he also talked about the fact that they were, before they started the issue, and in the proceedings, they had documents, people had documents from the judicial service, all the documents. Doesn't matter how they procure their evidence? Doesn't matter? Whoever gave to them, the lawyers will go with it.
Doctor, I'm surprised now at the angle you are going, because I thought you said we should look at the entire income.
No, but you were saying
this is why
because you lawyers have been teaching us that it doesn't matter how people procure their evidence.
No, but I know the law. It doesn't matter. So long as you bring information, but I'm talking about the thing landing in the public before the committee starts the hearing.
That one, my position is still intact.
Yes,
I still maintain my position that all of you came out there talking about it, and I asked them, then what is the essence of we having that in-camera thing sitting in our books? That is my position.
I'm saying that it was started by them. They leaked the petitions. They leaked the petitions to the public, including people like Taylor. So Calvin Taylor and the rest saying the woman must be jailed. And all those things were already out even before we went in. That's the point I'm making. So
yeah, but Mr. Ayikoi Otoo, how sure are you to know that Mr. A or B leaked it? It's a problem. But if you are pinpointing people, then it becomes more problematic.
No, I am pinpointing Tadio, sorry, because he kept writing about the ongoings of the committee when people did not know that he was one of the lawyers for Daniel Domelevo, the only petition that we dealt with. That's why I brought that one in. That's why I brought it in. Anybody can comment if he wants to comment. But if we are talking about the in-camera, and you are a member, if you look, ask the journalist whether I opened my mouth. It was after the recommendations were made that I came out to speak. I never spoke throughout because I wanted to be truthful to the in-camera. And I even refused to be present at the press conference. I said, I will not go there. So please, listen to me carefully. What I'm saying is that they put the thing out there in public. The woman felt that she was suffocating because people were saying all sorts of things against her. I am also going to the public to tell the public my side of the story.
Yeah, I think lawyer Ayikoi Otoo is a lawyer. He knows what to do. So if something went wrong, he knows what to do. So I'll leave it with
Thank you very much.
Okay. Sulemana, if you're still with me, I'm certain that you'll follow the conversation. I'd like to hear from you.
Well, thank you very much. I think we are dealing here with two respected persons. Lawyer Ayikoi Otoo is a very, very respected senior citizen. Undoubtedly, Mr. Daniel Domelevo is also a very respected person in this country. I think sometimes we, those in the media, don't help matters. The people and the public look up to us to provide independent information, independent evidence when things turn this way. And I think that it is not late. It is important that the public get to know the full facts. The documents may not be available, but as journalists, we have how we get our information.
Right.
Sante has been a journalist before. And, all the work that we do, certainly we have sources, people will leak things to us and all of that. And people have their interest in why they give out information. So in terms of that, of course, if people had grudges with whoever they wanted, they would leak information. I think the unfortunate thing is that sometimes some of these things turn political, even if it's a matter of national interest. The conversations, the debates, and the analysis of it turns political. Not surprisingly, all the matters relating to the Chief Justice, the petition, and all the debates that surrounded it eventually turned quite political. MPP versus NDC and so on. And in the course of that, we lose as a country. We don't get to have the full facts. We don't get to know what the realities are. But like I said, it is not late because removing a Chief Justice is a critical matter. So if it has already happened, we as journalists must dig deeper to bring the evidence to the public so that if the right thing was done, the public would know. If the wrong thing was done, the public will know. Now, from what lawyer Ayikoi Otoo has said, maybe the use of the word fake, and of course we can engage Mr. Domelevo to have further details about that. Maybe the use of the word fake could be what is wrong, because fake means the thing is really non-existent. It's a creation by someone to deceive and so on. But maybe if it was to say it was an illegitimate document, to say that, yes, it's not a fake document, but it is not a document that carries the weight to turn whatever evidence that we have, or the person who authored it didn't have the authority to do so, or in my view, that is not the right person to have done that. I think that could have been maybe the appropriate language rather than calling it fake. Fake means it doesn't exist. You just go and create something to come and deceive. But like I said, we may have to go into it to know the full
interrogate
details.
the use of the fake, the word use of fake particularly, maybe.
All right. So that would be my point. I think that the public need to know the full facts of the matter, and as journalists, we have a responsibility to let the public have neutral, independent perspectives to issues so that they can be properly informed. But at this stage, we are basically feeding the public with what this side is saying and what that side is saying.
Right.
And you say, well, they should judge for themselves. But where is the evidence that we are putting forward so that the public can be helped to make a judgment for themselves?
Thank you, Suleiman. I'd go to Dr. Osei Kwapon. If you follow the conversation between yesterday and this morning, what would you say? I've also heard many people say that for an auditor and then for a lawyer, if the auditor uses the word fake, he may probably mean something entirely different. But of course, a lawyer will take it as it means legally. How do you feel about this particularly?
But even if a lawyer and an auditor would give different interpretations to the word fake, given the nature of this removal process, how contentious it became and how political it became, to the ordinary person in the public domain following this, it is a very serious thing to put out in the public domain and accuse the lead counsel for the Chief Justice of providing something fake before the committee. That, for me, is quite a serious, in my opinion, slur to cast on the image, of someone who is leading, the Chief Justice, right? Regardless of the meaning or the context it was being used. I, as a member of the public, my first reaction is, this is serious, right? And if it is not, then you can only imagine what you create in the minds of the public over a process that has already been very contentious and has become extremely critical. I would have expected, with all due respect, that Mr. Domelevo would have been a bit more restrained in whatever, even if he felt that the Honorable Ayikoi Otoo had said something that displeased him, that he would have still been a bit more restrained in his choice of language to describe whatever. But beyond that, it also, for me, brings into question the sanctity of the process. If you're going to remove the highest officer of your judiciary, right? You can't have the process lose that sacrosanct aspect of it if it is going to degenerate into public commentary by those involved in the process.
Yeah.
And maybe as we rethink 146 and as we rethink the rules that guides this process in the future, that perhaps one of the things we need to make clear is that when it is over, even if it is 100 years later, those who participated in it are still barred from talking about it, right? Because again, I'm sure the framers of the Constitution had good reason for why they wanted this to be in camera. But if when it's over, you're going to go into the public domain and say all manner of things about it to stir further controversy about an already controversial process, then it loses its sanctity. And I think we have to sort of get back to a place where we can protect the sanctity of some of these critical institutional processes.
Right. Thank you so much. I'll probably give the last few seconds to Ayikoi Otoo, the lead counsel for the former Chief Justice, if you're still with us.
Yes, I would reiterate what I said, that is very disgraceful on his part, that being a very highly respected official in this country, he should have restrained himself when he decided to go to that tangent, even saying that he was saying so with the emphasis at his command that we produce fake documents and all that. I mean, if you have tried to taint the person at black already, and the thing had already happened, why do you go on? I mean, why are you flocking a dead horse? You have even succeeded in removing her. Now give us the report. You have failed to give us the report till today. So this might be some of the things they smuggled into it, that she brought a fake letter. When you did not understand the public processes, how can you say that the letter is fake because you expected it to be in the warrant signed by the president? So since the president did not sign that letter, therefore the entire thing is fake. I have been appointed twice, and in all these matters, I didn't get my conditions of service from the president. I got it from other officers.
Finally,
so he should come back again.
Finally,
the best thing is for him to just apologize for this ignorance and this thing that he has done. He should just apologize to the public.
Finally, before I let you go, the Attorney General has said that the judicial review, which you're seeking at the High Court lacks a jurisdiction because it falls under Article 146 and that it should be the Supreme Court. Are you considering this or you're proceeding?
No, we have seen a process filed by them asking that the matter should be referred to the Supreme Court for interpretation. That is the position for now. So let's go to the High Court and see whether the High Court will want to refer the matter to the Supreme Court.
Okay, we haven't had anything quite recently, especially about your journey to ECOWAS Court. You want to give us an update on that as well?
You know, courts go on vacation, so they were also on vacation.
Okay.
Now that they have come out, we'll see what will happen. If they have not done all these things with indecent haste, only to stop them from coming out with a full ruling. Very disgraceful, another one on the part of government. You know that we are in an international court and we have put interim measures there, which they are going to rule upon. And then you quickly relied on only one of the petitions to say you have removed it. The two are still pending, even when cases were also pending before the Supreme Court.
Right. Lawyer Ni Ayikoi Otoo, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And as well, Dr. Asante, thank you as well for joining us on the news review this morning. Suleiman Abrahima, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And as well, Dr. Osai Kwapon as well, thank you for joining us on news review this morning.
My last question would be if they're going to increase allowance or we are considering that.
Okay, so like I said earlier, we were intrigued to see that even with the CSMP, with the last registration that went on, we had over 2,000 inconsistent records of people. In fact, to the extent that there were some whose date of birth were even in 2036 or something, you know, I don't know. I seriously don't know if it's intentional, if it's about the same fraud, or maybe genuinely when the universities were uploading, there were mistakes. But with this system, it is built in a way that when you key in these inconsistent records, it will block you. So you will not have the access to even continue and get it done. So I think that to a large extent, that is very important. And it's a whole chain. It's a whole chain. And for every click, everything that you do, we have records of everything that you do in the system. And I have said to them that for maybe every 6 months, every 1 year, we will do periodic auditing.
Well, time now for our big stories. This National Service Authority to begin putting some 10,000 personnel through military training and handling weapons to instill discipline. And I'm quite curious about this discipline. Just on your screen now was Rudela Sedo. She is the boss of the National Service Authority. But I'm joined this morning by Fuseni Donko. He is Deputy Director for Operations at the National Service Authority. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start maybe from where the boss of the NSA was saying that some people who had registered, the date of birth were quite concerning. And so this is the reason why that cohort would have to reapply.
That is it.
Put some clarity on that.
Yeah, before the system was shut down in June this year, about 12,400 had already registered. So out of that 12,000, during the audit, they found out that about 2,000 of them had inconsistent data. So some of them have dates of birth as low as 2021, which gives them like 4 years. Some are 2030, like various wrong data entries. So, but then the new system that we have now doesn't permit wrong data being fed into the system.
Okay.
So if we even try to onboard all those that registered, the system itself will reject a lot of them.
But when we say it doesn't permit wrong data, how will it detect that this is wrong data? If
now,
I say I was born yesterday.
Yeah, so for this new system, what it does is that if our age range is 18 to 35, or exemption is from 40 years, so you are exempted when you are 40. So between 18 to 36, 37, 38, cutoff is 39.
Okay.
So if you enter any age range below 18 years or above
39,
okay, the system will shut you out.
Okay.
So it means you can't proceed to the next stage. Unlike the previous one, you can just enter and go. That is why we had a lot of 0 years, 1 year, 80 years, 90 years. This one doesn't permit you to do that.
Okay. Well, will they affect any delay in any way?
No. So what happens is that from today, all the over 12,000 who registered previously, they just have to go back, re-register, take their life. And then another challenge is that if we try uploading them, this system will reject it because this system also accepts live feed.
Oh, okay.
It takes your live image as I'm speaking to you now and compares it to your Ghana card.
Okay.
So without your live picture, it doesn't accept you as a qualified applicant.
Okay.
So that is the system now that is in place. So we cannot easily onboard them. But what we can do now is that if they re-register and we capture them, then we refund the previous payment that they did. So that is the only way out now.
Okay, and these are some of the ways you're using to curb corruption.
Yes, so this one, unless maybe you are the chief of staff of the devil himself, you can't easily manipulate the system.
Okay.
And whatever you do in this system leaves a trace. So if I go in, my duty now is to approve all the schools' uploads. And then my DG generates the pins. Then it comes back to me, I verify and then grant the permission to the director of deployment to quickly do the deployment.
On the back of this, I see that she's salivating for yearly what?
Yes, yearly annual audit.
Audit, okay.
So every year gives Auditor-General who come and actually subject our system to forensic audits again.
That was not the case before?
No.
Usually, the Auditor General was auditing at what rate?
So normally they do audit for the financials. They don't audit the system.
The system itself.
Yes.
Okay.
But this time around, the system will be audited. And then this new system also, per the instruction of the president, he wanted us to create a system without a cost to the taxpayer. So this system was also created without any cost. Unlike the previous one that cost us over 95 million Ghana cedis, this one, zero cost.
Okay.
Thanks to my brother Yaira Deku and then the gifts people, they helped us to
created this.
NITA. Okay. They actually helped us to actually bring this particular system on board.
Okay. Well, I see what you're wearing this morning. And so if you're an NSS personnel, well, be getting ready. Your boss is wearing the uniform here. And so you say that 10,000 NSS personnel.
Yes.
But you're doing it in tranches. You're breaking them into two.
Yes.
First of all, what is this supposed to cure?
Okay, so the president's vision is to bring us back to the patriotic days, the days where primary schools will be playing anthem and people even going to the farm will stop for the Ghana national anthem to be played before they continued. He wants us to go back to that sense of nationalism and patriotism. And the best institution that can help our youth instill discipline in them is the military. We are not just taking them through military orientation, we are also training them in disaster preparedness and management, capabilities. So we are training as part of their national service. So this is not outside the national service. The national service is mandatory for 12 months. So 6 weeks within the mandatory 12 months, you'll be taken to the military orientation program.
Okay.
It includes physicals, but not up to the military training level. It also includes weapon handling. It includes classroom sessions, everything that military does, just to equip you to make sure you are able to also go through, like you get a competitive edge, so that at least this first 10,000 are the piloting stage. But the military facilities, training facilities can do 5,000 at a go.
Okay.
Initially, we wanted to use some of the campuses, but per the structure and then the models of training, the other school facilities will just become like a deja vu for the personnel. It's like they are leaving school and they are back to school, so they may not have the impact.
The mindset you want to the shift where you won't get it.
These 6 weeks, we keep them at the training centers, at the barracks.
Okay.
No unnecessary phone times. You are regulated time for your phone. You are regulated time for sleeping, regulated time for waking up. This, like, we just want to take them through this training. When they come, we monitor this 10,000 vis-a-vis the rest and see the impact. Then from next year going, it becomes mandatory.
Okay, and this mandatory will depend on how this 10,000 will go.
Yes.
Whether the discipline you want to see will be done and all. I mean, I asked this question because though you mentioned it's not going to be very rigorous like the usual military training, people who go through tertiary and graduate, not all of them have the appetite for military.
Yes.
Not because they don't want to, because some generally, if you look at the requirements, you even join the military, your height, your health and all of that, they don't meet it. Are there any, whilst it's not very rigorous, are you looking into that as well? Is everybody who is going to serve as an SSS personnel, automatically, do they qualify to at least go through, no matter how rigorous? Should they be part of this?
Yeah, so you will be taken through all the medicals as if you are going for a military training. So all the medicals screening that requires you to enter into a military training is exactly what you are going to be taken through, especially for this pilot stage. We are taking them all through it. So things like height will not come in.
Okay. That's about health.
But so the medical screening will take out the health, extreme health conditions.
Okay.
Disabilities, they will all be taken out.
When they do, that 6 weeks, which is calculated and added to the service months.
Yes.
What then happens to a person who is unwell and is unable to go through the military part of the service?
So that's what I'm saying. If you are ruled out by your health, it means you are exempted.
You're
So
exempt.
you'll be certified as exempted from
Okay.
the military training based on your health condition.
Okay. Okay.
So on your certificate, it will be stated.
Okay.
So it's not just a way of dodging, because if you dodge, in future, if you try to do anything with the military, they will refer you to it that, listen, your health condition says you can't do this kind of work.
More practical.
Yeah.
Whilst you are exempted, would it be that during the 6 weeks when your colleagues are under this training, you will be home, or you will proceed to wherever
No,
you
you
were?
will be posted.
You'll be
So
posted.
what will happen is that all our service personnel will be posted before you report now to the military training for the training.
Okay.
So if you are posted to Joy News, you will report to Joy News. Then you give a letter that, listen, I've been invited for the military training as part of my national service.
Okay.
So the 6 weeks that you are supposed to do from start of your work at national service, Joy News, that 6 weeks, you do it at the military training. Then when you finish, you come and continue your service.
Okay. Well, I see that you're training the service personnel for discipline and all of that. Why the need for handling weapons?
Yeah, so you remember I told you we taking them through basic emergency preparedness and response. Yeah, so the military thought it wise that, listen, once they are here, they should know this is how this thing works. This is the effect. If somebody is injured with this is how you treat the person. So it's about knowledge about the weapons that are there. It's not, they're not going to expose them to all the military accoutrements, no.
Right.
But some of the basic weapons that they need to know will be shown to them. Some of the demonstrations that they need to see, they will be taken through that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Tell me, are there any operational challenges the authorities facing in implementing this thing particularly?
Yeah, so I think the only challenge now is the lack of facilities. So we would have wished that at least all the 16 regions of Ghana have military training centers. That way it would have made things easier for us. The medical screening facilities, the military insists they have to do it because they want to also supervise the medical screening as well, because they know what they want.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the only basic challenges that we are having. But aside that, the military has been very cooperative. The understanding, even some of the things that we don't understand, they are able to explain to us properly. And myself, the Director General, and my colleague, Major Kwegu, who is a military officer, he's now in charge of operation. I'm now in charge of finance and administration.
Okay.
Yes, so
okay.
Major Kwegu, myself, will be at all the training centers. Yeah, so the 6 weeks, there are 7 training centers.
Okay.
So we'll spend all the 7 with them. So each and every time we'll be with them at the training centers.
7 training centers.
Yes.
10,000 personnel.
Yes.
And then they'll be divided 5,000, 5,000.
Yes.
Okay. So whether you're in Narugu
wherever
and you're posted, the center, the training center, will it be assigned to you?
Let's say you're in Narugu. The closest is like, how do we call it? Daboya. But it doesn't mean you strictly go to Daboya because we will shuffle you.
Okay.
Because we don't want to create that atmosphere that you feel you are still at home. So you can be from Nalerugu before you realize you are at Takrady Naval Base.
Okay.
Based on where we will take you to, so that we don't create the familiarity concept for them. So that is what is going to happen. But the medical screening will happen in their regions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. While you may not have met the personnel very up close, what has been the general reaction so far? Are they excited?
Even the 12,000 that registered before the shut of the system, the previous system, over 2,000 of them actually opted for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we are expecting over 120,000 to 130,000 people to register this year, so if 12,000 was doing 2,000, imagine, so it means the 10,000 we are likely to go over.
Okay. Currently, how is the payments like? Have you had challenges in the past? We used to report on the news that they...
For now, I don't think we've even owed more than a month. Normally, we try to pay before we enter the next month.
Okay.
So as today is October, the September one, I'm sure has been paid, or I can check. But I'm sure by now the September one has
Usually there's no delay.
Yes, so we don't want to like the 2, 3. Previously it was around 6 months. No, we don't do that. I don't think we've gone beyond 1 month to 2 months before.
That's nice and thoughtful, but I see that you're becoming more thoughtful. I hear that you're trying
We are even pushing, and the finance minister has assured us because
currently it's how much?
It's 715, and you know His Excellency is a listening president, so we've gone to cry to him, and
you're hoping to push it to how much?
We are hoping that at least worst case scenario we should be around 1,000 cities. Worst case scenario.
It's sweet for you people. Those are watching the service person. It's sweet for you, Pa. So
and to add to that, all the equipments and all the kits, the states are taking care of it.
Okay.
It's so only their personal stuff that they will bring. And even that one, coming to the military, if the military shows you the things they don't want there, no perfume, no unnecessary things there. So it's just a few things. But then the kits, the boots, even the PE stuffs are all taken care of by feeding by the state, accommodation by the states.
Okay.
Even transportation to and from the place by the states.
From your home to?
No, after your medical screening and you qualified, we assemble you at a point, maybe at the regional office.
Okay.
Then the bus picks you to the training center.
Okay. The feeding that I'm asking, just to be sure, 3 times a day with snack
yes.
or what?
3 times a day without snack. No, because of the kind of physicals they take them through, the military are very specific on some particular diets.
Okay.
So you are not going to do assorted fried rice there, no.
Okay. So this push that you're pushing, are we likely to see it in the November 2026
yes, once
budget?
It's going to happen this service year.
Okay. Okay. That's really good to know. What are some of the new things happening at the authority? Of course, we can talk about the poultry initiative that you have also...
For now, we acquired, the previous administration acquired a 20,000 acre of land for us at Abutentry in Central Afram Plains. They normally call it the Kumewe Enclave, but because I'm from there, I try to always teach them the right name.
What's the name again?
Abutentry.
Abutentry.
Yes,
okay.
That is the specific town where the farm is located. Previously, they did about 400 acres of maize. We have been able to expand it to 1,500 acres. We are now harvesting that maize. Ejura, we did 300 acres. We've just harvested that one. We've planted another 600 acres, 650 acres at Chenchekura in Ejura again. Donkrum Kwanta, we are just about starting to harvest another 300 acres there. Karaga, we've done another 350 acres maize, 200 acres rice. In Commander, we've done 200 acres maize. It's also almost getting ready to dry. Damongo, 100 acres of maize. And then Janga in the northeast region, 201 acres of rice, 194 acres of maize. Volta region, 110 acres of maize, 50 at Agoti Meziope, and then 67 at Abutiapota.
Okay.
And then Navrongo, 80 acres of maize. Manwe in Upper East, 35 acres of maize. Kufudia, Kwamoso, we've done another 35 acres of maize. And then Papao, at our Papao farm, we built 100,000 capacity broiler poultry houses. Currently, we are doing 70,000 beds, 20,000 layers, 50,000 broilers. We've just sold the first 10,000. Another 30,000 is ready for sales. We are currently selling. And the good news is all the ladies, market ladies between 18 to 35 years, when you go to our farms for live chicken, they give it to you as 70 cedis.
Okay, and the original price is how much? If you're not 18 to 35, how much
it's
will you
around
100 cedis.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me how it works, this farming, before we get into the poultry. Tell me exactly how it works.
So our farm activity now, together with the MasterCard Foundation under the Happy Project, what we do is that we actually post most of the agric students, especially agric technology, agric engineering, horticulture, and all those guys. We post them there. They don't just do their service. We train them on the job as well.
Okay.
So if you go to Papao right now, most of the students there are trained on the pottery process. Then when they finish their service and they opt to continue, or what we call the voluntary, we set them up. That is under the MasterCard Foundation project. We set them up. We give them a starter of about 200 bears, a battery cage, and a small pen. Then we give them capital to continue.
Okay.
Those who are on the farm, we have a tomato farm there, around about 100 acres in the Abutentry as well, and another 200 acres in Yape as well. What we are doing there is that we take them through the greenhouse processing of tomato and then open field cultivation of tomato. If they are also interested, the land is big. So once they agree that they also want to do their own, what the authority does is to buy the inputs for them, allocate a parcel of land to them, then they continue.
Okay, okay, that's really nice. So the farming, the maize farming preceded the poultry farming.
Yeah,
or
they went hand in hand.
hand
We
in
started
hand.
both just this year.
Okay, and surely this poultry farming is under the Nkoko Nkitinkitin initiative.
Yes, because we were like the lead agency that the Ministry of Agri tried to use to pilot. So most of the feed was provided by the Ministry of Agri through Honorable Eric Opoku.
And since you started this initiative, have you seen young people, growing that appetite and growing that intention?
So as I speak to you now, most of the people managing the farm are service personnel. We just have a few permanent staff. And one of the shining examples is one lady there called Asantua. Now Asantua has her own umbrella on the farm because we allocated one of the pens for her to also demonstrate to see. Because she served us and then she decided to opt for voluntary and then continue. So now she's also doing her own things while still training.
Okay. So you say that if you're between 18 to 35 and you wanted to purchase, for example, if I'm 18.
Yeah, if you are selling fowl at the markets.
Okay.
Normally they go and buy it for like 100 cedis.
Also, if you're a retailer at the marketplace.
We give it to you at 70 cedis.
Okay.
Even if you're a housewife and you want to come and buy and sell, and you are within that age range, you can come and buy.
Okay, and this year as well, is there anything different? The 1,200 who are going to reapply, are you still going to focus on poultry and maize, tomatoes,
it's the same
or they are
now,
the same?
what the system is doing is that the system tries to look at your cost area and then target the companies that are. So if you do journalism, it will first of all tell you, listen, if you want journalism, if you did journalism and you want to do your service, option areas, public and private, media, multimedia is one of the best in the private sector. Can you contact them? Because multimedia has to write to us, they need this number of service personnel before we can post. So it will give you that option. Aside that, NCA is there, Ministry of Information, Ministry of Communication is there. So that is what the system now does for you. It shows you your subject area and then the potential best choice service areas for you that can equip you in your career.
Okay, okay. I mean, finally, for me, this does not take away the traditional way of posting NSS personnel, except it's just if a person is posted 6 weeks of the period, they go for military training. I ask this because most of the companies have planned their lives around NSS posting and all of that.
That is true. So what it does, that is why we actually trying to explain that it's just part of the service. It's just that the 6 weeks that they will go for the training. So let's say multimedia, if you need about 50 people here, ordinarily we won't take all the 50 away for the service. So if, let's say, out of the 50, 30 actually applied for the military training, that means we have to quickly readjust again. So that is why I told you, if the 10,000, we get more than that, we'll have to get a buffer or somebody will say a reserve list.
Right.
So that when the medicals disqualify some people, we can quickly slot in. So yes, we will look at all those things. We won't take all the service personnel from a particular organization just to render it. redundant. No, we won't do that.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for
said
having
that
me.
the 10,000 starts when?
This service year.
This service year, right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Kusedi Donko is Deputy Operational Director. You'd find him at the National Service Authority. I'm certain that you have some clarity to this very big story. Today on the show, please stay this more. Right, you're still watching the AM show. So before this SME fair, during the fair, and even after the fair, stay with me because I'm going to give you a poll. One of the juices that you don't have to miss out on before even the fair, and after that you're going to be hooked on it, will be Kowa Natural Cocoa Fruit Juice. And joining me in studio is Atokwamena Apia, who will be telling us why that should be in your fridge by now if you don't have it, and why you should actually try it. And he is the Junior Sales Operations Manager from Kowa Impact Limited. They are the producer of this juice. Ato, Otodan. So I'm excited about this package. First of all, tell us about the Kowa Natural Fruit Juice.
All right, so Kowa Natural Cocoa Fruit Juice is 100% natural cocoa fruit juice that we discovered through an innovative way of upcycling the cocoa fruit. The cocoa pulp is currently discarded in the cocoa value chain, so we are upcycling it and then helping the farmers gain an extra income through this previously discarded pulp, and then making various products like the cocoa fruit juice that we have here, which is super refreshing, bringing it to the market. As a company, we've been in existence for about 7 years, moving into our 8th year. And up until December 2022, we decided that, look, we don't have to export all of the pulp as ingredients to our partners in Europe. But then also as a brand in Ghana, as a company in Ghana, we have to also introduce the cocoa fruit juice to Ghanaians so they can also enjoy it.
Right, I mean, among all the things that you could have used the pulp for, you decided to turn it into juice. What's the real story behind and what inspired it?
Yeah, so our co-founders, I mean, it's a Ghanaian-Swiss partnership brand, and our co-founders came to Ghana initially on an expedition to find partners for their solar business. And then, per chance, they met some cocoa farmers. They gave them some of the pod to eat, and then they enjoyed the pulp so much. So they were thinking about what way to make something out of that. I mean, they tried vinegar, they tried other products, but then they finally decided to use it for the juice and then also the pulp, which we export as well as ingredients to our partners.
Okay, and so what makes this one very different? There are many fruit juices out there. What makes this one different?
So I mean, as you said, there are a lot of fruit juices out there, but then there's 100% natural. That's to start with. It's a very healthy choice for a beverage. Unlike your mango, orange, or even apple juice, this is different. I mean, cocoa is our #1 export commodity in Ghana, and then us coming up with such an innovative way to bring this juice out of the previously discarded pulp, as I mentioned, to introduce it to the Ghana market. Cocoa also has a lot of benefits, health benefits, packed with high magnesium, potassium, which are good for maintaining your cholesterol levels and all that. And then it's also increases your satiety levels.
Your what?
Your satiety level.
What's that?
I mean, it helps. It's very filling.
Okay.
Yes. And also it helps improve your digestion.
Okay.
And it's a great all-energy drink for people who are in active sports, as a great rehydration drink. So instead of taking something that you think has a lot of industrial sugars, you know, I don't want to mention names, but you know these energy drinks out there. You can take this and then you're good to go.
Okay, so this one is all natural. For those my girlies who are very all about their weight and taking care of their health, well, I'll drink it for you to see at some point, but is this the only size that's on the market?
So we have two sizes. The one you're holding is the 350 ml size, and then we have this one here, that's the 3 liter size. So the 3 liter has a bag and box, So there's a pouch inside this box, as you see here, and then there's an opening at the end for the tap.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is more like the family size, and this is the ready to go. You can grab anytime you want.
But now they're asking me, hey, is it expensive? Especially because it's in like this sophisticated glass bottle. Is it?
I mean, it's a cocoa, as you know, although it's a fruit, but then it's not, as I mentioned, not like mango or orange. It's not a fruit you can just get on the market. So, I mean, for us, we're working with over 5,000 cocoa farmers to produce this. This bottle you see there has about pulp extracted from about 13 cocoa pods.
Oh, wow.
So you can tell already how...
That's an important point you have made. Is that consistency in supply, especially because of cocoa?
Yes, I mean, it's a seasonal crop, but then we try to maintain. This product can stay for about 12 months in cold storage and still be fresh. So during even the minor season, you have, you know, steady supply on the market.
Is it easy to find on the market? How can we find this product?
It's actually very easy. Any Melcom outlet you walk in Accra, you can have it. Any farmer's market shop, any farmer's house shop, Max Mart in Accra, in Kumasi, Melcom, Kumasi City Mall, Santase Melcom, Edum Melcom as well, Opoku Trading. But you can also call us. I mean, if you want to work with us, we're happy. We want to share this bundle of joy with a lot of Ghanaians. I think Ghanaians are used to cocoa, and they would want to also experience the innovation that we have discovered through the pulp. Yes.
Okay. Well, I've just put the numbers that you can reach them on the screen as well, but I just reiterate it. 053-885-5650, 053-885-5650. And as well, the other one, 0503-830059 to purchase, or if you want to do business with them as well. And you're live and present at the SME Fair, right?
Yes.
You're going to be displaying. They can also come there and also purchase them, right?
Yes, yes, we'll be there. We'll have samples. We'll be giving out free samples to everyone. Just come, taste, enjoy this refreshing drink, and then you can buy as many as you want.
Okay, but where are you located, though? Beyond going to find it in the malls and all, where are you located?
Yeah, so our office is at Abelempe in the South Heights building on the ground floor. Our other locations are 2 factories that we have in Ghana, in Asen Akufrum in the central region, and then Achimachnyase, that's the biggest factory in Eastern region.
Okay. Yes. All right, Ato Kwamena Apia is Junior Sales Operations Manager at Koa Impact Limited, and they're the producers of Koa Natural Cocoa Fruit Juice. He is just giving me my breakfast and my energy boost for today. Go and grab yours, but thank you as well. We'll see you at the fair.
Yes.
Okay. And the fair is happening later this month on the 31st day of October through to the 2nd day of November. You don't want to miss this one. Stay with me this more on the show. Watching the AM show, so there's one doctor when you see, you definitely know that your mental health is proper. You are in safe hands with Dr. Mausi Asafo. But most importantly, for people who provide us with healthy and clean water to drink, Belakwa, going a step further to ensure that you're not only drinking good water or safe water, but as well making sure that your mental health is in safe check. And doing this with Dr. Mausi Asafo, I'm quite confident. This morning, I'm joined by Chris Adosako, the head of marketing at Belakwa. And of course, he brought the biggest bottle of Belakwa sitting right in front of him. And Dr. Mausi Asafo, clinical psychologist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School. It's a pleasure to have you in my studio this morning.
Same here.
And I see that you're wearing Belakwa. And Chris, what's happening? I thought you just give us water to drink. What's your concern about our mental health?
Yeah, so for we at Belakwa, we're excited, and I'm more happy that the moment you saw him, your mental well-being came to mind. And then obviously you also mentioned the brand Belakwa. So it's not just about, giving quality water, but it's also about the total well-being of our consumers. And that's the main reason why we have taken it upon ourselves for the past 3 years to be creating a platform where psychologists and psychiatrists will have a time with Ghanaians in general to discuss their mental well-being. And so Friday on the 10th of October, we are going again on the Mental Health Day to create the platform for these learned people to talk to us, you know, concerning our mental well-being.
Okay. I mean, before our doc will come in, there's so many other projects you could have, you know, engaged in. What has triggered particularly mental health? And you call it Healing Together Vigil.
Yes.
Okay.
So for us, it's not just about the quality of water, but, you know, supporting mental well-being also reinforces our core existence as a company and what we intend to give back to society. You know, a healthy mind is a healthy body. And we know that mental health issues are it's a big challenge for all of us. If you look at the youth, if you look at our professionals and all of that, it's something that we need to, you know, throw more light on and get the experts to engage us for our mental sanity. And so we are excited that year in, year out, you know, we create a platform for them to engage us. And so it's not just about giving consumers the quality of water, but it's also ensuring that their total well-being, their mental sanity and emotional sanity are all in check or all in balance. And that's what we stand for.
Okay, Dr. Safo. So I know that you've been on this campaign for a while. A lot of people should take their mental health, you know, quite seriously. And would you say that it's been fulfilling, rewarding so far?
So rewarding. I mean, Belacqua is also championing this for us. And for me, I always say that partnerships are the way to go if you want to solve any significant challenge. Now, the mental health problems we have, or the challenge we have, is largely shrouded in stigma because of a lack of information. And so if you have such beautiful platforms to talk about mental health and to destigmatize it further, you change the narrative, which brings it to the fore, and then we can, you know, we can do more about it and help people's mental health to thrive.
How are you going into this vigil? What's the core message this year?
Well, we're looking at
managing tragedy.
Managing tragedies. And it falls in line also with the World Mental Health Day's theme, which is emergencies, like mental health in emergencies and catastrophe. So basically, everybody seems to be doing the same thing.
Okay.
Now, you see, most of the time, if you look at our culture, when things happen to people, we just say, oh, just get through it. You're fine, you're strong. But there is a process. There's a reason why we have emotions. There's a reason why it takes a process to heal. Now, let me make an analogy. When you get a sore, like a physical wound, it doesn't heal in a day.
Sure.
It takes time to heal. Same thing happens with the mind. Same thing happens when you go through a tragedy. Same thing happens when you go through a heartbreak. Same thing happens when you're going through challenges with your bosses, etc. And so having an opportunity to be able to heal together is being able to just express. And in tragedies, we want people to have a platform to at least talk and express.
Because you talk about heartbreak, usually would be advising that don't go and fall in love. Drink water, drink Belacqua, drink Belacqua and mind your business. But I think now you can safely drink Belacqua and just go for this vigil. But Chris,
yes.
You say that is a vigil.
Yes.
So the last, this is your third year. The last 2 years, how has it been so far?
It's been exciting, and many thanks to Ghanaians who have been supporting the brand and have been supporting this initiative. It's been quite exciting. Last year we had over in excess of 800 people joining us at Alliance Française. And this year we've made more seating space because we had a lot of people coming on our social media portals complaining about seating capacity and all of that. But this year we promised that, hey, we've expanded the seating area. We have more psychologists and psychiatrists coming on board. There's enough food. Of course, there's enough water. Yes, there's enough food. There's our Bell beverages also. A lot for everybody to drink. You know, it's more about meeting them to engage. You know, let's heal together. Let's talk about the things that eat us up, that nobody, you know, pays attention to. So it's about the conversations. It's about good music. We are expecting some great performances from the likes of Efia. We are expecting Kwampa. We have Jeffrey Norte, the skit maker as well. We have Kevin Boy. So it's a bit of music, a bit of acting in there, a bit of conversations.
Dr. Safo is there. I'll come. When is it? When is it again?
So it's on Friday.
It's on Friday.
Yeah, we're inviting everybody to Alliance Française Friday.
You say it's a vigil.
Yes.
Does this mean that, like, should I put the meaning of vigil to it? Like, are you doing it all through the night or what?
Yes, we're doing all through the night. But for the neighborhood where Alliance Française is, so unfortunately we'll close at 1 a.m.
Okay.
But it's going to be exciting. We're starting at 6 p.m. sharp. with exciting stuff from Kwanpa, and then we'll get into the conversations of how to manage, tragedy. Some of these things happening as men, they tell us that not to cry. And I wonder why we are not supposed to cry, So I can't wait to actually hear from them how we manage these things. Pressure from work, pressure from family, pressure even with our careers and everything. So I entreat everybody to just come around and enjoy themselves on Friday.
I'll come to you whether or not the access is free or you'd have to pay something. But Dr. Santa should give us a reason, more reason. He's been talking about us taking our mental health seriously, but today he's here again. I pretend I've not heard it all these years and still tell us why we have to be there.
In fact, this time I have even a better platform and a better scenario to create. You see, if you look at this, we have Take a Break. And Taking a Break is also another campaign by Belacqua, which also is part of the way of safeguarding our mental health. Now, in the modern world, many of our mental health related challenges are based on the way we're thinking about stuff. So I always give the scenario, you watch a movie, I know it's a horror movie, but I still feel fear. I watch a movie, I cry at the end of the movie, even though I know it's a movie. Now, the same way or the same reason why your mind does that is the same reason why when you think about something bad happening, and of course, largely human beings are more negative, and it comes from a place of survival. You're going out, you're starting to look at, okay, what could go wrong in my life? So you want to manage. Now, all those things are stress triggers. So we'll tell you that in as much as you cannot control or avoid stress, you can manage stress. Now, I'll give you a simple analogy. If I ask anybody to carry this bottle like this, okay, keep holding this bottle. After maybe 5 minutes, you start to feel the sting. The bottle seems heavier and heavier as you go on. Now, if you put it down for 5 seconds and you carry it, you still have more strength to keep going. That's what this is all about. That we have time to take a break out of our struggle so we have more energy to face the stresses that come, because we cannot be done with stress, but we can manage it. So that is my point to say, come join us. You can't control all the problems in your life, but you can take a break from them. And by taking a break, you're giving yourself enough fuel to go on and deal with them.
At least you have free water to drink. Would you rather not? Yes. Chris, how much are we paying? Is it for free?
So it's free.
Nice.
It's free. For us at Belacqua, it's about championing the sanctity of Ghanaians. It's about ensuring that we have a productive society. And that's why we are creating the platform for everybody to join us. Let's discuss the things that eat us up. We have the professionals to also help us to go through it. And we can't wait to have everybody around on Friday.
Thank you so much for joining us today and inviting us to this. Chris Adosako, the head of marketing at Belacqua, and as well Dr. Mausi Asafo, clinical psychologist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School. So be part of the Healing Together vigil organized by Belacqua. Do stay. We'll wrap the show shortly with this moment. Watching the AM show, we're nearly wrapping, but of course we cannot wrap without having this conversation and as well celebrate our teachers. You recall that last week, the team from the Ghana Teacher Prize Awards, they were here and they told us about the process so far. Of course, we've got the winners and they've joined us in studio. And this morning, we're joined by the Most Outstanding Teacher 2025, Richard Wunsibe Timob from the Salvalugu Senior High School in the Salvalugu Municipal Northern Region. I've also got the first runner-up, Sabina Ferguson Hazel, Archbishop Ando, RC Basic School, Tema Metropolis in the Greater Accra region, of course. And the second runner-up, who has my namesake, teacher category, she is Letitia Emefa Yawa Akabuto, St. Catherine Senior High School, South Tong District, Volta region. Congratulations. Are you feeling excited? I see all your sash and all. Are you feeling excited that you have been rewarded at least? Very. Yes. Okay, let me start with you, the winner, of course, the most outstanding. Did you think you win?
By the grace of God, you win.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah, being a teacher has actually been a fantastic journey to me, and I have not limited my teaching activities just to the classroom alone.
Okay.
Because education as a whole is looking at how to develop learners holistically and not just merely impacting knowledge. So one of the things I am doing as a teacher is to go beyond the classroom and ensure that my learners are developed holistically. So I give them academic knowledge in addition to the values, the attitudes, and then the competencies they need to fit into society.
That's amazing.
One of my philosophies is that if I'm able to produce the best students in the whole of this world who cannot fit well into society, it means that I have not done my work well as a teacher. So I combine values with knowledge so that they are able to fit well into society.
Well, congratulations on that. Real. How many years have you been teaching?
For the past 20 years now. Yeah.
Okay. I'd go to Sabina. Congratulations, Sabina.
Thank you.
So you came first runner-up. I mean, what do you think sets you apart from the others for you to come first runner-up?
The competition wasn't easy at all. Actually, I don't like competitions. So I went there as someone who is going to exhibit whatever I have, the knowledge that I have or have gained. Yeah, so I went there to do that. But I saw that I'm going to be placed.
Okay.
I didn't expect to be
first runner-up. You didn't think?
No. But all that I was expecting is I want to be part.
Okay.
I want to be part of those who win.
Okay. Yeah. And here you are. You are part of those who have won. How many years have you been teaching?
I would say for the past 25 years, but I did 5 years in the private school before joining the training college.
And you look 18, Sabina. If I do the math and I take the 25-year-old, you don't look like you've been teaching for 25 years. Oh, my goodness. Quite a beautiful woman for the number of years that you have been teaching. But beyond the classroom, what do you do to impact your students?
Oh, as a teacher, you should be meaningful to the society. And there are so many things that you can do. In terms of reading, writing, and other things, I'm a kindergarten teacher. And I always say I'm a foundation builder. So I make sure that I build them very well. And when it comes to the community, there are so many things that you see around. Especially, I'm a Sunday school teacher also. Okay. So in my church, I do see learners or children not being able to read. So sometimes I organize phonics classes for them to build their knowledge when it comes to reading and
That's
writing.
amazing. That's amazing. And if you teach in the South Town district, you speak as a Tongba. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How long have you been teaching?
14 years.
For 14 good years. Yeah. In the South Town district, would you say that teachers are being recognized mostly in that region?
Not at all.
Not at all. Yeah. And so what encouraged you to be part of this Teacher Prize Award, and what do you think made you win?
Okay, so I have always been in my own corner, doing my own thing, not because I wanted to be appreciated and not because of the Ghana Teacher Prize. So it was actually my district director of education, the director of South Town. Yeah. She pushed me to apply because she believed I have what it takes to be a national winner. Yes, looking at the work I'm doing in my school and my community, she believed that I am an outstanding teacher who deserves to be recognized by the nation.
That's beautiful. What level do you teach?
Senior high school, forms 1 to 3.
Okay, what subject do you teach?
English language, and I teach girls only. My school is a girls' school.
Ah, so you teach only girls? Yes. Look at that, I'm feeling so proud. Yes. Okay, but you say that beyond the teaching, you put your passion, heart, and mind and soul in there. When I come to the St. Catherine Senior High School, what are some of the things I'll hear that Teacher Emefa did?
Okay, so when you come to my school in my community, and even beyond my community, I am known as the village teacher with a global attitude. Yeah, so that is because my innovative skills as a teacher takes me beyond the borders of Ghana. So I fall on people who have the expertise to enhance my teaching and learning process, to make sure that my learners get the best out of every lesson. So as it stands now, I have had guest teachers all over the world, from more than 30 countries precisely. Yes, from Asia, from Europe, from America, everywhere, all across the world. So what I do, for instance, if I am teaching a Nigerian poem, I would go for a Nigerian teacher to come in, join us on a virtual learning platform like Zoom, to enable the students learn from the perspective of a native. You know, definitely a native would know certain things that I don't know. And that has helped me to improve the AWASI performances. Initially, before I started teaching literature in English, performance was low as 9%. And within 3 years, I raised that to 55%.
Congratulations, congratulations. Richard, if I visited your school now, the Savelugu Senior High School, and I say, what can you tell me about teacher Richard? What are some of the things out here?
Yeah, the things you will hear about me is the teacher who goes beyond the classroom to ensure that learners get international exposure. Just as she mentioned, I do equally the same thing. I've gotten the opportunity to be the first Ghanaian teacher to be certified by an organization called With the World in Japan, to serve as a special ambassador to promote international exchange programs in Ghana.
Congratulations.
So I champion this agenda by ensuring that my learners get the opportunity to interact with several other learners across the world. And I'm glad to inform you, as a result of some of these initiatives, in February this year, I led a team of students in Savelugu Senior High School who won the World Presentation Competition 2025 out of 15 countries and 43 teams. So I give exposure to my students internationally. I was also privileged to be one of 2 Ghanaian teachers in 2022 who were selected by the U.S. Department of State to participate in Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Fellowship Program in the United States of America. And as a result, I got the opportunity to be selected 5 times consecutively by the U.S. Department of State to host fellow educators from the United States of America. So this
you hosted them in Ghana?
Yes, please. This one has given my learners and teachers the opportunity to network with these global icons. And apart from that, all those I have hosted, I've gotten the privilege to send them to a lot of cultural sites in the country, ranging from Morley National Park, Damango, went to the Larbanga Mystic Stone and Mosque. We visited Paga Crocodile Pond, and we visited a number of chiefs, including the overlord of the Savelugu traditional area. So when you come to the Savelugu community and you really know what Richard is doing, these are some of the things they will talk to.
What level do you teach? What level do you teach at?
I teach senior high. I teach all the levels, but currently I'm teaching senior high 2.
2, yes. Okay. And what subject of course?
Biology.
Biology. You're a biology teacher.
Yes,
you're a biology teacher.
Yes,
Mr. Richard, you're a biology teacher.
Yes,
okay.
And one other thing you will get to know of me in Savelugu Senior High School is how I am championing environmental sustainability.
That's very good.
I founded the War Against Waste Club in the school, and it is a student-led initiative that is championing the use of plastic waste in the school. And we are partnering with an organization in Savelugu that is Modern City Factory, where the plastic waste are sent for recycling.
Thank you. I'm certain that our Northern Regional correspondent will follow on this and bring us some story from that. But Sabina, I think those who teach children, kindergarten, I think you have 2 hearts. The one that is common to us, and then the one that's especially made for you. Is it that you enjoy teaching that level, or for some reason you have just not decided to move over? Because I think it must be a special calling teachers, but the ones that teach children, oh dear.
Yeah.
Tell me, how have you been coping?
Okay, for the past years, I've been in the primary. I've been teaching primary 5. Then I saw that, no, what I'm getting is not good. Sometimes learners will come to your class, or you get new learners, and they will not know how to read simple sentences. So I went to my head and I told her that, no, I think I have to go down there.
Wow.
I don't mind being a degree holder. I'll go down there and help the learners. So they call me a special teacher. And for kindergarten, you will get different kinds of learners in your class. And you as a teacher, you have to be very good in different ways so that you use different methods, that is our differentiated approaches or methods to help them. So when it comes to tasks, you give them differently. And you have to build the learners. They have to learn how to read. So when you come to my school, they call me the phonics madam.
Okay.
Or the special teacher, yes.
Okay.
Because I try to handle every learner in my class.
Which means that you prepare them better by the time they get to the level which you were teaching, they are very well okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very well. Very thoughtful of you.
You'll be surprised that a child will be in my class and be reading very fluently.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should have many of Teacher Sabina, especially, deciding to want to go down and start from the bottom. So, MFR, for you, or Letitia, for you, what's next? What's next for you?
Okay, so currently I'm involved in a research with 3 professors from the University of North Carolina, Wilmington in the USA. Actually, I'm the one who initiated it.
Congrats.
And then, yes, they came on board. So we are researching into how to use literature to nurture leadership skills in Ghanaian girls.
Okay.
And of course, the sample population is my schools. I mean, my school has to benefit from that. So we are using students from my school for the research.
Okay.
And we've gone far already. And, you know, we have analyzed results, collected data, analyzed results, and we are working on the literature review now. And hopefully, when this work is done, it will be a way to empower young girls, even as they study literature or literature in English in our senior high school, and will benefit all girls in Ghana, not just my school, but the whole of Ghana. I have also been able to represent Ghana on many international platforms, attending conferences and workshops all over the world. And next year in March, I am the only Ghanaian teacher who will be presenting at the largest gathering of English language teachers in the world. Yes, in the USA, I'll be there. And on that platform, on such a huge platform, I will not just represent myself.
You represent the whole of Ghana.
All Ghanaian teachers.
Thank you very much. And we are grateful. And so in just 30 seconds, I'll come to you, Richard. What's next for you?
Sure. At the moment, my plans are to establish a STEM center in Savelugu.
Okay.
In order to give the less privileged ones in our rural areas the opportunity to actually study science hands-on instead of the theoretical way we've been studying it for the past years. So very soon, I'll be knocking on your doors, the doors of other organizations and individuals who are willing to support this dream, and by the grace of God, I know it will come to pass.
On behalf of we, the less privileged, we want to say thank you very much for starting this initiative.
Sure.
Okay, Sabina, what's next for you as a teacher?
I have a project that I've already started, and it's called the Academic Clinic. Academic Clinic is going to be a center that is going to help learners who are dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia, and is going to build them very well in the community and Ghana as a whole.
Congratulations to all of you, and we look forward to you doing even greater things as well. And we're wrapping the show, but quickly, happy birthday to my love and beautiful wife, Mrs. Adelaide Owusu-Ansah. Thank you so much for all you do for us, and may this new age bring fulfillment of heart's desires. Wishing you good health, strength, wisdom, and more money. Happy birthday to my mother-in-law as well, Madam Mary Kumiwa, a.k.a. Mrs. God. May God bless you and grant you good health, strength in your days as well. And this is from your children, Kukwa, Efwa, and your loving husband, Stephen Owusu-Ansah. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Sabina. Thank you, MFA Letitia as well. But thank you even more. Do stay for Joy News Desk. And a reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Kinoga Company Limited and Syntex Tanks. Thank you for watching.